Movement.
3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my second ever episode of the Civcast. Been a while since I did one of these podcasts at all. Took a large break, but we're hopping into a very different theme than last time, where last season was us and a couple other people, but now I'm with a couple Survivor players from the very famed org called Survivor. So we got some people. We got Angie from Survivor Season 4, Survivor Corpse Party, Survivor The Boys, and Survivor Breaking Bad, as well as some other Era 2 seasons, but we're talking about Era 1 right now. We got Corny from Survivor Dragon Age. We got DB from Survivor Corpse Party, The Boys, and Breaking Bad. And we have Siren, the winner of Survivor Dragon Age. We might get another Survivor winner here, Akio from Survivor Corpse Party, so look out for that. But yeah, how's everybody doing right now?
So far, so good. Thanks
Honestly,
for having me
pretty
on.
good.
Fine.
I'm very excited
Oh,
to talk about seasons, especially honestly, season 1 and 2 is and 3 to an extent is a category I'm excited to talk about because people don't know much about those compared to the other seasons.
Yeah, totally. And
I sure don't.
yeah, a lot of people do. But yeah, so we start this off with going to our first ever season, Survivor Skyrim. Our first ever season of Survivor ever. And a lot happened this season. A lot of bad, some good, but there are a lot of controversies this season. And in a lot of ways, kind of shaped how Survivor as a whole continues to go on. And I mean, there's not as much rule breaks, but like we kind of bunkered down after the Skyrim stuff. But Siren, you got 14th place, and you had a lot of stuff to say about Ghost when season 1 ended. So
Uh, my opinion on Ghost has changed over the seasons, but because compared to other players, which in Era 1, which we'll end up talking about, I feel like Ghost is on not the lesser spectrum of villains in Survivor, but not like, especially with all the gates and stuff. Even though Ghost Gate is like, or I guess Austin Gate is what we call it, is the first like major Survivor controversy. Compared to other stuff, it's actually not that bad.
yeah.
But
So for those who want like a little info on what happened on Austin Gate, because it is a very confusing rabbit hole, is that Austin played Survivor Skyrim. He got 14th place. He struck out. When Siren was, I think Siren was going to be booted that episode if Austin didn't get struck out. But so after that, I'm pretty sure Martell, who used to be production at that point, he went up to Austin in DMs and tried to see what was going on. But apparently Austin was having Wi-Fi problems, so Austin didn't get the DM. And he tried to answer Martell's question, but his DM didn't go through. So then it became a huge fight between Austin, production, and Ghost. I mean, it kind of just spiraled out of control, and it was it wasn't a great way to start the season.
and just to say this like out of experience, season 1.
Season continued.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. It's a weird season because fundamentally, like consider it as like a very basic season strategically. It has a bunch of like weird stuff in the middle, like my elimination, Party Snacks' elimination, pretty much like every elimination before the merge, except for like the strikeouts and picks, I think, are some of the weirdest things ever.
Yeah. But I did think that there were some fun tribals, like Blaze's Tribal. Blaze's Tribal was awesome to watch. A very, I think it was like a 2-2-1-1 vote that went to a 4-0 vote. That was a pretty good tribal. I think the merge tribal of Luke getting idled out was pretty fun. But I think the sentiments of season one are all that it kind of just falls apart after final seven because King's getting pagonged, Spin's getting pagonged, Lanzy's getting pagonged, and I mean at the time, me and Martel genuinely thought that Ghost was alting the season because we didn't think that it was possible to have that much alting at all. And we didn't think it was possible for a Pagong to happen that much. But yeah, but at the end of the season, Berkeley won, and Berkeley won 4-3. But the weirdest thing happened in FTC where Brendan wasn't even at FTC, and if he was there, Brendan would have won, which is, I think, the most cursed thing about this season. Like, and Siren, I know you were talking to me about it.
Yeah, and one of the most interesting things about this season is it shouldn't have been in Ghost's favor when they hit the swap. Like, one day, I don't know if this day will happen, I want to see King play again because King is such an interesting character. Like, I don't know if King's my favorite season one character. I think it's between them and Luke for season one. But King pretty much just like accidentally gave the win to Ghost. Well, didn't give the win to Ghost, but the Ghost army. Ghost ended up losing.
King kind of threw the last two tribals for merge.
I mean to be fair, without Ghost is remarkable. The best play of season one by far, the idol play. If it wasn't for that idol play, King possibly would have won the season.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, Ghost would have gotten idled out at that point, and if that happens, I think the entire alliance just crumbles, and then we have, I want to say King and Lanzy go to final two together, and that's just an easy King win. I think I don't see Lanzy getting any votes in that situation, but yeah, season one kind of just a very depressing overall outcome of the season. But I mean, going forward to season two, I think we had some of the best competition just because of one huge controversy. Everything just got like cut to the short end of it. And Corny, I know you played season two. Do you have any fond memories of season two?
Yes, I have some fond memories from season two, and I'm gonna just jump out the gate by saying Survivor season two was my first ever org that I played in. So I had no idea what I was getting going into, and I'm just gonna say it was a pretty solid first experience. I got to know the basics of how an org works. I got to my alliances. I got some bondings that I did, but unfortunately, my time management didn't work for me at the time, so I went inactive, and that was basically my demise. One of the things that I remembered from that season was my alliance with How and L, I think, or was it How or Silver?
It
I don't
was
know. Basically,
it was Hal and Silver.
yeah, it was How and Silver. I basically had an alliance with them, and if I probably were to be more active, I probably would have gotten a bit more further. But yeah, it was all just not under my appreciation. But I had a pretty solid time during season two. But yeah, that's all I got to say about it.
Your Siren gives his like big season two speech because he hasn't given us his victory speech yet. There is a controversy I think we all have to talk about that regards to season two that I mean, we all know what it is. It's Mavgate. One of the most controversial things in Survivor, if not the most controversial thing in Survivor, about basically what happened was we did what's the abstainer pain, and Siren won immunity that challenge because he abstained immediately, and Mav and Uli did not read the rules for that. So Mav got angry at us for that, and that was just a very annoying situation to be in. Siren, what's your take?
You see, I think I remember having some very strong words in my confessional during the moment. I mostly was just kind of laughing, to be honest. Uh, I felt bad for production, but like I was also laughing at them because I'm like, this is you guys should have read the rules. This is the easiest immunity win of my life. But it also ended up working for me in a ironic way. I know we don't actually. I think this is the first time I've ever stated this. I fully believe that if we didn't have this second challenge, which was quad blocks, to give out another immunity necklace that round, I think ironically, Yuli would have still been in the game, and Hal would have put the vote on Luke. So
Yeah, that's
their complaining got them killed.
a fucking Luke get it, and then you just throw Luke to the wolves immediately.
Problem with season 2, for me, because I'm the winner, and I feel like I'm gonna have two. Me and you will have a combined speech about season 3, won't we?
Yeah.
We have a lot we want to say about that, but no. I just feel like the main part about season 2 for me is, and we can talk about this, the pre-merge tribes are so complicated in a way, and the fact that I was able to like flip Mav in the beginning and go through the swap and make allies, and like they literally got rid of Yuli, which was my biggest competition, for free. All was how like straight vote, and then like everything just crumbled, and like I just I'm happy I won this season, but I think all of us think, what if Mav didn't leave the game? I feel like it would had a much better ending to the season instead of just me comping out.
What are your guys' opinions on the controversy? Because while I know you guys didn't spec it, it's a word that went out a lot afterwards. So if you guys have any thoughts on that Mavgate.
Definitely like a WoW controversy, like especially like given he didn't read the rules or anything. I think it like the whole situation could have been avoided if he did.
That
Yeah.
that whole situation that whole situation is something that everybody that's experienced it learned from, and hopefully it will never happen again in the future of this org.
I think the closest we got after the Mavgate controversy is probably Gia from season 8. That's the closest we ever got
Oh
to that
yeah,
point. But
right.
Was that
Gia was
the code names?
uh I think that happened because of one of the weird tribals we did where I think I read an advantage wrong and Gia got angry at me for it.
Although we do have the code name situation, which we'll talk about in Era 2, and the other situation, which I won't spoil, but I am so happy to talk about when we do Era 2. I've never forgotten it. Although we'll be talking about that player in season 6.
Yeah. Alright, so now we move on to season 3, Survivor the Walking Dead, and this is sort of when you get to the golden age of Survivor, at least for now. Uh, we had a lot of big characters come into season 3, Puppet, Harrison, Rabbi. Blissey, Rebels only. A lot of people played, and this is also where a lot of the specs came from. Like, I know Angie spec season 3 a good chunk. Siren became production season 3, so season 3 was a pretty big season in a lot of ways. So, if anyone wants to voice their opinions on season 3.
From what I heard about it, it's definitely one of the more interesting seasons of this org, and both of the finalists have an interesting tale behind them.
Yeah. I think
I think season 3. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Angie.
Okay. I think season 3 was like, from what I've like vaguely expected, but like from what I've seen, it was like pretty interesting. And like we got like 2 solid finalists at least, and yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite moment in season 3 was the Big Mike blindside, where Blissey managed to play our extra vote correctly against Big Mike, and then he went home 3-2, I believe. And another great tribal was I think it was Puppets vote out, where I think it was like a 4-3-2-1, or yeah, 4-3-2-1. Like 4 people got votes.
Mm-hmm.
Siren, what's your take on the season?
I feel like personally, although I feel like the majority of people, and I don't believe people are wrong when they say this, mind you, because it is, objective. Everyone praises season 4 as the best season. I personally will always praise season 3 as the best season. I feel like one of the characters you didn't mention, which kind of is funny because it's also the community's like viewpoint on them, is that they're invisible. The legendary Alex, the one player you didn't say. Anyway, uh, it just was the golden age for a lot of characters. It was Luke's golden age. It was Harrison and Rabbi's golden age. Puppet's golden age. Or I guess Puppet's golden age was season 4, but like
It's
I
still
guess
pretty
like
big.
the era of Puppet. The one thing or the two things I always think about mainly when I think about season 3 though is A, the second swap, if you want to talk about that.
It was season 3 second swap was not good. I think part of the problem was that, I mean, by this point everyone was playing so hard at the first swap that by the time the second swap hit, everyone just wanted to throw challenges to get their opposition out. Which, I mean, I get the strategy. I'm just not one to really be entertained by challenge throwing personally.
Yeah, it's one of the moments in Survivor. I feel like we have some of these moments sometimes where I recognize that it's probably the best move to do, but it's also completely boring. But at least one of those players got to like come back because of the edge. We
Yeah.
got Alex back at least. It does kind of like feel bad. I feel like whenever we think of Era 1, I feel like a player that kind of gets shafted in the Era 1 remembrance is Blissey. Pulled off one of I would say a top 5 advantage play, not considering idols. Maybe the best one. With idols, top 5 definitely though. With against Big Mike. And yeah. Good season overall. The FTC, I don't know if it's I think it's the FTC also is just like a good look at I guess orgs in general.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
the problem with season 3's FTC, I mean, I love both Rabbi and Harrison as players, 100%. I think they're both top tier players in my opinion, and I think they both played fantastically. But It's just a problem with, like you said, orgs in general, where a lot of the times players just, their mind's already made up and they don't even feel like participating. Which we did fix that rule. We came up with some new rules to fix that. So, although it
I mean,
wasn't because of this specifically, though. We'll
yeah,
get to that.
I will say that personally, and I think me and Civ will actually agree on this. I still think, as much as I love Harrison, and I do feel like the people should have gave Harrison their time at FTC to read their speeches, I still think Rabbi wins the season. I think Harrison played the better game, but it's kind of like JT and Steven in a way,
Yeah.
where they're the JT and Steven of Survivor. Rabbi is JT and Harrison is Steven. Except for this time, arguably, production loves Steven way more than JT. But season 3 is an amazing season. When I look at casting future seasons, I always hope that we get a cast like season 3. I feel like I don't know if Civ would agree with me on this. Probably the best cast we got
Probably, yeah.
overall, because
Yeah.
the one thing that I can dock on the cast is Lou making it to FTC, and I guess the Lucy situation is a bit weird.
Yeah. The Lucy situation was weird, because Blaze had to walk first episode, so we brought Lucy in as an alternate. So, yeah, that was kind of annoying because Puppet's entire alliance did that. Puppet's alliance is just very polarizing in this season, I think, because,
I
you
mean,
have all these big characters. You have, Rabbi, Puppet, uh, Only, Big Mike even, but they're just too, like, outright with what they want to do to the point where nobody actually likes it. Like, Alex hated them, Luke hated them, Hannah hated them, but associated with them. Just a lot of people just found Puppet so overbearing this season.
well, I mean, I'll always say this. I feel like Puppet's legacy is Puppet's alliances. Because even in season 2, although, like, that alliance is probably the weakest out of the 3, because, like, it failed at the first tribal it went to, Puppet, I'll give Puppet credit for this one thing always. They can make alliances. They just need to keep them. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe one day we'll see Puppet again. Maybe if we did like a Era 1 versus Era 2 season, which I think we've debated. I don't know if we'll do that, but either way, good season, 10 out of 10. Had a good winner, although I wouldn't change the winner. I would change the way FTC happened. I think that's my opinion on it. Like, if they gave Harrison a chance but still, like, respected Rabbi more, I would be a lot more happy with it.
Yeah, that's my take on it as well. So, going into now season 4, and this is where, a lot of more opinion starts to come in, because season 4 was, this is when a lot of big players started to play. Angie and DB, this is their debut season. Akio, that's his season. Quinn started here. Peppers started here. A lot of big names started in season 4. So, yeah, we'll just have it an open floor, if anyone wants to talk about season 4 at all. By Corny.
I guess I'll start. Yeah, season 4 was like I think one of my first books, as far as I can remember. And like, I think like it's kind of similar to like what Corny said about season 2, but like, I think I found out what sort of player I was. The twist was pretty intense compared to like the other ones, but I think I still had fun with it. Oh, Akio's here.
Hi, Akio. We're on season 4 right now. We're talking about Corpse Party.
I made a mistake, okay?
What you do?
No, I was saying I didn't realize that people were from other seasons here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing the whole era. We're doing the whole era. And this is Akio, the people's champion.
It's a
Angie,
season
what were you
for
saying?
me.
Yeah, I was saying, I think I was mostly saying like how I felt about like the overall season and the twist. I've made some solid friends from this season as well. Like I made like I still talk to a lot of people from like the merge, like Akio, Peppers, Trap, Quinn, all those people. And I talked to DB as well, but like I didn't meet him till season 5, which we'll get to later.
One question I did want to ask you, Angie, about Survivor Season 4's merge episode, because you were in a lot of heat that episode, but you managed to get out with the Gambler's Idol. What exactly made you like cause to play it?
I think given that everyone was going for Octopus that round, like from what I've heard, I also like heard that my name was out, so after Octo played it, I played it and tried to like half my votes, and it was a close call.
Akio, what's your opinions on this season? You're the big man here.
I,
Hall of
I, I, I
Famer.
am I am the first. Well, so from my perspective, so basically, here's everything from my perspective. Me and Octopus kind of knew because we were kind of forced to work together because I had an idol that was given to me by Sheep. Most of Octopus's things were given to him by Sheep. So I learned that Octopus was in danger. I told him he should play his idol. Octopus was like, "No, I'll just keep him a half idol. That's it. I'll be fine." And I was like, "Dude, you need to play your idol. You really need to play your idol." And I said, "I'm gonna have." And then once Trap, actually, ironically, Trap was trying to do some jury management on Octopus, and told Octopus, he hinted at the fact that Octopus wasn't going home. And after that, Octopus knew we had to play his idol. Our logic was, well, no one's gonna know I'm the rat if if I vote for Octopus. And I knew, like I said, if Octopus goes, my position's compromised because right at that point, I had a few allies, yes, but then I'm losing someone with all the stuff that we had from Sheep, and then I go lose a giant shield. So we planned it, and that's what happened from my perspective, at least that travel. And when I thought it was 1-1 and Blaze went home due to a gambler's idol that I didn't know existed, because why would I? And ironically, Angie got it right before I could have got it. So thanks, Angie. I really appreciate you. That's what
No worries, you got your revenge on me like 3 tribals later.
Yes, don't underestimate
That
the
is
power of
true.
maple syrup. Do not underestimate the power of maple syrup. And then I also learned DB sacrificed himself, and that made me was like, my man brought the power.
Yeah, before we get to, Akio talking some more about the merge, DB, how was your time on pre-merge of Survivor Season 4?
Oh, it sure was something, let me tell ya. This was like technically my first Survivor outing, though I only like vaguely count it as my first. I think I view 5 as being my real start. Because 4, I just wasn't as active as I could have been. I was busy with school and all that boring real life stuff. I ended up getting on a tribe that just kept perpetually getting the short end of a stick. Just kept having the football pulled up from us as we go to kick it. Sheep going was in that joint tribal was weird. Created a curse of joint tribals being weird and crappy for me, which if we ever get to Era 2, we'll get into that. And then it came down to the final 3 with me, Octopus, and Peppers. And I liked both of them pretty well. And I also kind of realized, all right, well, I'm about to go on vacation. I haven't been as active as I could have been before. I know I'm not going to be as active as I want to be coming in the merge. So I just told him, let me go. It's okay. And I ended up being let go.
I gotta say
that was
though,
a. Go ahead, Akio.
when I heard about that, so if it's because here's my point of view on that. Because like I said, me and DB were not outlaws, but our friends and our friends were friends. And when I heard what happened, it kind of warmed my heart a little bit. From my perspective, DB sacrificed himself to help his two of his friends make a merge, and I think it was really awesome. And it ended up, I don't want to say it ended up paying off, but one of them one of them ended up getting second and honestly could have won the game. And the other one was a pumped his way pretty much through the entire season. And I think his sacrifice was really, I don't want to say worth it, but you know what I mean?
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, one thing I want to also get to before we talk about the rest of the Survivor merge is what were your guys' thoughts on the twist for season 4?
I loved it. Okay, you know what? I had a lot of good. I like the major. I like the majority of it. The only thing I disliked, and like you said, it was really hard to happen, was that you can automatically get out. I understand the only way that could have happened is if you were just purely inactive, or you did it to yourself. Like Civ, you remember, I was constantly chased by that thing. The spirit did not like me.
Yeah.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. Like that's. I think was I the most chased person?
I think so. I think that's where the get drip meme came
Mm,
from, Akio.
No, actually, I will say this. It was not Akio, it was Groot. Every time it would chase Akio, it would leave Akio, and it would go to Groot tenfold. It was Groot. It was
But
Groot.
yeah, but no. But then I ended up taking Salt out, and it scared them away. And ironically, the guy with the Salt, I was able to pick one dude. I picked Salt, and that Salt ended up helping me out later on the line.
Nice. Angie, what was your opinion on the twist?
Well, yeah, it was pretty like wild. Like when I first read it, like the whole like the instant elimination, the darkening. A, I think I got like 15-ish% of like darkening in the end. Because I went to like I tried to like go to every room except for there was like one room in like the I think like the middle floor where I didn't go because the spirit was there, so I was like avoiding it at all costs. And then like when the top and bottom floors open, I went up and got the gambler's idol. So that was like really cool. I think it was like my first advantage ever as well. So that was pretty sick.
Let's go on to the entire Survivor Season 4 merge, which was a giant, just insanity pile. Angie and Akio already talked about the Blaze boot, Final 11, but going down the line, we have Groot's boot, which was Final 9, I believe. But let's go down to Spin's boot first, which was Final 10. Which Akio, that was like one of
That,
your closest
that was
allies going, right?
I would consider. I'm gonna be honest with you. In most seasons, if it wasn't Final Five, I would say by far my weakest arc was Final 10. Final 10 was the first time I felt horrible because the only way I knew I could have saved Spin. Spin was was very loyal to me, but the only way I knew I could have saved him was the idol. Unfortunately, I have a motto of never, unless it's Final Five and I'm individually immune and there's no way I can lose it. I don't play idols for people unless it's extreme circumstances. And I knew if I didn't play my idol, if I played my idol on Spin, yes, would he owe me? Yeah, but does that mean squat normally? No. So it did really hurt my position, and it made me worried for the future. But I knew from that on, I was. It did bring me, at least for me, it brought me a lot closer to Octopus and Peppers.
Which also that's what caused you to bunker down and make the Whooper army. So talk us a bit through how you came up with the Whooper army as a whole.
Okay, so here's the truth. I love Whooper. I think that's all apparent. But we were just talking. I was talking to a lot of people. I was like, Whooper. Because back then, actually, I was scrolling YouTube and I was having a rough day. I found this YouTube video that was just literally about Whooper, and I was like, Whooper. So we immediately, I was like, showed them, and then Silver was like, Whooper. That showed to Octopus, Whooper. Peppers, Whooper. And we just pretty much formed an entourage of Whoopers. And the thought process for me was, well, I can get these guys on my side. And Final 8 was a very Final 9. I know we're not really touching on this, but Final 9, Final 8 was very important because it's pretty much that was the fight between the Illuminati and the Whooper army. Final 9 was losing the middle, and I think Angie, would you agree with me on that statement? Final 9, with Group going, was losing the person in between, so to speak. Would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And it led to a situation where there's two groups of four: Peppers, me, Silver, and Octopus, and Trap, Quinn, Puppet, and Angie. And basically, it was going to come down to Final 8. Final 8 travel, it was who was going to be the target. And that's what determined the season. Angie, it was you and me, the two people that were fighting on Final 8, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And we both got like 3 votes each, but like you successfully idled you. So
Yeah, I want to be fair. That did break my trust. I did in Silver a little bit though, because Silver did
Mhm.
not vote with us, which was very which.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think it was
Silver and
Quinn
Quinn
that
voted each other,
yeah,
didn't they?
Quinn voted Silva, yeah. And I think wasn't
So
I thought Silva voted Puppet that
I
tribal.
don't know.
Oh, I thought Silver voted Quinn. I thought
I
one of
thought
the
he
two.
voted Puppet. Yeah.
I, it was so long ago, I don't remember. But all I remember for sure is that was we both pretty much had safety valves. Is pretty much what it came down to. So honestly,
Mm.
if hypothetically I didn't have an idol, there was a real chance of rocks.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that rocks would happen because and the thing is though, if rocks didn't happen, I think it would be you going. Not because of anything particular, but the fact was, if it was 3-3 and the guy with you has an individual immunity, if you're gonna and your odds going in and losing now are higher if they have mathematically if someone has immunity and only 2 people can go to rocks versus 3, the numbers aren't in your favor as much. But
Yeah.
yeah, Final 8 I think was the final. I would say Final 8 was probably the second most important, like truly the second most important travel, because that's where the lines were drawn.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was like
I will step in and say this. I do agree with most of what was said there. I will say this. I personally think that if you didn't play that idol, I think that Silver just flips. Like straight up. Silver was already playing. Silver was literally voting Quinn because they were trying to play double agent. The moment you don't play that idol, you probably go home. Like just straight up.
and the thing. Oh, getting back to the idol though. I don't understand why Sheep. Well, considering how much advantages Sheep's had, it kind of made sense because it really did make me. I owed Sheep, and it gave me a big reason to trust him, obviously. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it was. I'm not saying it was smart, but I still would say I would never personally do it. But Sheep's rationale for it was as realistic as you could get. But in my opinion, Sheep giving me an idol was very surprising. I really genuinely didn't think I was gonna get it. I just asked as a joke, and it actually worked out.
We'll talk
Yeah, I kinda
about
need
this
to
Do you
like
more.
really?
Yeah, we'll talk more about the Sheep factor of season 4 because Sheep is an important character. But I will always say that Sheep was the reason that they lost that season. They pretty much had everything going in their favor and then gave it all up.
I'm pretty
the thing,
sure Sheep had 2 idols and then gave them both away.
well, I think Sheep. It was too late from what I recall. Octopus told me he was barely able to transfer them over to me. I mean, not to me,
Oh
to
yeah,
him.
that's right. I remember having to like snowflake the times in between me reading the first parchment and Sheep giving the idol to Octopus because they were so close together.
But I mean, but in the end, I mean, like I said, it really bounded me and Octopus. It put us in a position where when Sheep won, I'm gonna be honest with you. At that point, I thought Sheep was gonna win the season. My gut was telling me I wasn't gonna win. It was gonna be Sheep. I was just gonna be one of the late jurors, probably, or a runner-up. But then, with Sheep going, there was a sort of power. Sheep was the head of the alliance, I would say. I mean, when we're talking about that race to billion, that definitely was the thing that definitely happened. I was definitely. I want to be fair. That was definitely that. You can make a whole different. You can make a whole different podcast of that race to billion.
Yeah.
That race to billion was definitely the race to billion that ever happened.
Mm.
But
yeah, I was at that joint tribal as well. Like I was like seeing the R-Type thing in Final 15 where you, me, and him like won individual immunity for our tribes. And I was like, I played with you, Sheep, and Octopus like for like the majority of the R-Type thing. And I was like really like I was like pretty much observant of it. And that's why I kind of threw like at the next joint tribal, that's kind of why I threw his name out because I was like, I think he's pretty close with these people. He's pretty social.
that's just I mean, it would make sense because if you were playing with us, you definitely noticed that it was very weird how all the Supreme Guard numbers happen to be the same one, or very. Oh, I mean, we that was definitely that, or like I said, our type is definitely a thing that happened. But Sheep going really was just like a baffling. It was like what the fuck, because that put me in a position where I lost. I don't want to say someone I completely trusted because here's the truth: you never trust someone completely until you go to travel together. And I think most people would agree because you got no reason to trust them. But when every travel was going, I knew I wanted an immunity. I didn't care what was going to happen. I wanted immunity for myself. That's why I really didn't mind. That's when you said all 3 of us were winning because if you got second or third, by second or third, you know what I mean. If you got first for your tribe, you were fine. So I didn't care about Sheep winning. I just wanted to make sure I got second and not Groot because I felt a lot more. Like I said, Rogue was a very easy boot.
I think the boot was like really obvious for like at 15.
Yeah,
13 to 1 to 1 was the vote count. Funniest vote count of all time.
And the worst part is, Rogue actually said, "I want Akio to win," and I actually won. That was the funniest part. I was like, "Don't say that." I just remember being pissed. I'm like, "Oh, you just put my name out there, bro, in order to at final 13," and that made me sad. It was funny. It was really funny. I was not happy with Rogue, and we never spoke again. By the way, they called me their bestie, but we never spoke again.
Ro, if
Going
you're
in-
listening to this podcast, we want you to play again so badly and be funny. Come on. We need the legend back.
I mean, I'm gonna be fair. Ro wasn't even in a horrible spot. The truth was, Ro very much trusted me, and Ro and I got along pretty well, all things considered. So honestly, if it wasn't a 12-person tribal, I would have considered maybe doing silver. But Groot, I was gonna keep safe. Groot, I was keeping safe at least one tribal. Because here's the truth here. Hypothetically, let's pretend I lost. My tribe lost. You think if Groot went when I said I was playing, I would play the idol for Groot if I had to? Do you think I would have been suspicious? Yes,
Yeah.
yes. At least it would have been suspicious, I think. So I could have not targeted Groot was safe that round, just because there was nothing I could do. Well, if she found out or Octopus, I would be shooting my. Octopus only knew because we needed. I mean, we said, well, let's say hypothetically worst case scenario. And we told Octopus, and Octopus then proceeded to save us. But the thing that was very interesting to me about that whole season was just the honesty in that season, at least for me. Because, like I said, I don't. Sid, would you agree? I wasn't necessarily a hero in the sense that I was doing always that moral thing and doing what helped out my allies more than myself, I was a hero in the sense of I didn't give you bullshit. If you were fucked, I said, hey, you're fucked.
Right, yeah. And I think that was also sort of what happened with Peppers too, because I talked with Puppet postseason about this. Peppers actually told Puppet that he was going, and Peppers viewed it in such a way that Puppet actually just felt bad for Peppers voting him off.
I felt bad about voting out. The hardest vote out for me, I think it's very easy, and I'm surprised no one was. I don't think anyone would not be surprised by this, but definitely Octopus by a mile. Voting out, especially after Uno, because none of you guys were but Siren and Civ. You don't know what that was like. That Uno was definitely a final challenge. Because let's be honest here. If I didn't win Final Immunity, you think, Civ, you agree, if I didn't win Final Immunity, I was pretty much going to go.
Yeah.
And unless Silver did the same thing. And by the way, I was so upset with Silver about that. Because, like I said, if Silver's did that, would Silver really... I'm going to be absolutely honest here. I love Octopus, but I don't know how he couldn't tell Silver was self-voting, and me and Peppers were panicking in the one-on-one because, this for votes. If Octopus picked up that Silver was self-voting, you know what would have happened? We would have had a tie. And Sid, would you agree that I probably still win the season if Octopus makes the FTC, right? Or do you not?
I don't know actually. That's a very tough one.
Like, if
Actually,
it's
it is. There's recorded documentation of the jury saying they didn't respect Octopus because they kept winning comps, and that was it.
I want to be
Oh,
fair.
then yeah, you
Yeah,
probably.
like I said
I
in
mean,
like Ponderosa that I probably wouldn't vote Octopus over like someone like Akio or Peppers because like just only due to because they were more like physical than they were like social or anything. So
I mean,
Yeah, it's
I think either Akio still wins, or some of Akio's votes get split onto Octopus, and Peppers wins like 3-2,
3-2.
like
2-2.
maybe like a yeah, like very close, maybe like 4-2 vote. But I mean, either Akio wins with the same vote count, or Peppers wins with a closer vote count. I think.
I think it
You know,
also this is one other thing I think that's worth mentioning. Me and here's the truth: perspective is not always reality when it comes to orgs. But
yeah,
this is one of the few times in orgs because I've played orgs where I thought things from my point of view was the correct way when I've been wrong. But this is one of the few times where I felt pretty good. And from my perspective, Octopus really had Peppers as a +1 vote. That's what I saw. Like I said, I didn't know a lot about some of the things Peppers did under the radar. But at the same time, I just really saw, at least for the most part, Peppers being a +1 vote for Octopus, to be honest with you. And I think depending on how Octopus sold that at FTC, it could have affected things. Like, if Octopus sold it in the right way, like, honestly, I think I would still win. And do I think it would be close as hell still? Yes. But do I think I'd still come out top? Because, just like you said, Angie, like you said, the jury really didn't respect Octopus's game. But I think Octopus blatantly going to be saying, certain things that would. I think it would help. I think Octopus would, if Octopus being an FTC would just diminish Pepper's game a little bit more. I'm going to be honest with you, at least in my opinion. But you never, like I said, that's a what if. And with what ifs, you can't really tell. Oh, fun fact for you guys, though. Of all the jury members, only 5 asked questions. And One of those people voted for. So, ironically enough, I won by getting the one of all the people to vote to ask questions. I got one vote of 5. But Puppet, Groot, and Spin. Well, Spin was the one person. I'm gonna be honest. Spin, I always saw voting me. I also always saw Octopus voting for me. I felt like. And Groot, I felt good about. Puppet was kind of not the surprise, so to speak, but but yeah, I think another thing that's not talked about enough is that final 5. Because
That final
Andy,
5 was goofy.
that final 5 is probably the definition of a tribal that season. Because let's think about it. So, ironically enough, I genuinely asked Octopus because that night I was actually working I was working like a 12-hour shift. I was gonna be up from about 7 p.m. till about 7 a.m. working, and I had to drink an insane amount of coffee, and I almost went to pure sugar rush. Like, I had way too much coffee and stuff. So I asked Octopus as a friend if you value your friendship enough to at least tell me if you plan on betraying. Because I didn't ever think Peppers would, at least in my point of view. Because Angie, didn't you guys have chats with you guys plus Peppers as well?
Wait, what was this for? Like alliances
Well,
or?
yeah, alliances and stuff. Because I'm trying to remember. I don't know. Like I said, we were not aligned at all in season 4.
No. I didn't have an alliance with Peppers, but like in one-on-ones we were like pretty solid.
Yeah. Ironically, we all like Persona now. But oh, by the way, but Persona pretty top tier game. If you don't play it, you should play it because it's great, and I will steal your heart. But back on track though. Final 5. I'm gonna be honest with you. I saw Quinn as almost a bigger threat than Peppers, but because I didn't, you never know how bitter a jury could genuinely be. Like I've been in juries where people just straight up refuse to vote someone because either A, they betrayed them, or B, their ally was an FTC and like they didn't even like give them the time of day. And I was worried that Quinn, because Quinn was aligned with Puppet, Trap, and Angie. I don't know, Angie, would Quinn have ever got your vote if they somehow made the end, honestly? In season 4.
I don't know.
It's worth mentioning.
Even though it was like allied with her, I don't know if I like saw much of her game within like season 4, especially compared to season 6, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
Well, season 6 would be different. I'm gonna be real. I'm only really useful for season 4. Let's be honest here, because like I prodded, but like I said, I wasn't coming back till a season. Either A, if they had a Persona season, oh my gosh, I'm coming back immediately. Civ, you better pass me for a Persona themed season, or HVB, and that's if Civ even wants. And that's
That's our cue to make second chances the Persona theme, Civ.
We already made the second chances theme.
I already know the theme.
Anyways, Akio, the Siren season will be Persona 3, no winners allowed, smiley face.
you.
I'm allowed. I didn't win. I haven't won yet.
Let's go.
I mean, that makes me sad, but I'm gonna. Yes.
I also want to add on to the season just a little bit because there's one episode you guys talked about a little bit, but I mean, when this episode happened, me and Siren were going absolutely insane in power rankings chat. The final 9 episode, where Puppet was flipping the entire vote onto Groot. When I asked some questions about that, first of all, Akio, how did you see that tribal happening initially, and then what was the end cause to get you to vote for Groot?
Okay, well, one, my name was out there. Apparently, Groot used me as a backup target. So I was feeling I was probably going to have safety valve there too, and that made me petrified because I knew I had an idol, so I was a little nervous. Then when Puppet went up to me, and I could tell I could kind of tell he was being genuine, and he offered me an opportunity. And me and Octopus looked at each other like, "Well, look, this is an easy vote where we don't have to worry about losing one of our core numbers." But we did both realize, hey, this could bite us in the butt, but this also is probably the easiest vote because like I said, it cemented sides. With Groot gone, there was no middle at all. Like in Groot was probably more on the Whooper Army side than the Illuminati, at least from my point of view. And I'm not sure, Angie, if you would like to weigh in, if how close you guys.
Oh, I agree with that.
Like, I also pretty much gave Groot a blank check at the swap that I will protect him if I had to, and I would have done what I had to do to save him. So that gave me a position of, well, this guy would probably be on my side, but do I really want someone that's like he was the. I know you guys were saying Silver trying to be double agent to a point, but then once we made the Whooper, Silver was like Whooper, 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 So Whooper. And I realized, look. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
But that thing for me was just more of a, well, this is an easy vote. Let's just keep it simple. Like I said, Groot put me out there to Puppet, and Puppet told me, and then everyone was very unhappy with Groot trying to either make me or Puppet the target, and we all were just looked at each other like, should we just shoot him? We all looked at each other and said yes. At least that's what happened from my perspective. And do you agree with that kind of?
Yeah, Puppet just like threw out Groot's name out of the blue, and I was like, yeah, we're in. Because I feel like it was like a vote that you wouldn't like exactly anticipate either.
Yeah, this is the point where me and Civ said that Puppet tricked your ass so hard that tribal. Groot did not do shit with your name.
He didn't put my name out there.
No, he didn't.
No.
Puppet just tricked you. Puppet just tricked you. Frame one, and you fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. That's why Puppet was player of the season.
I want to be fair though.
He wasn't just the leader of the opposing alliance. He was the only person to draw blood on Akio.
I think Groot pitched Akio as a future boot, but not as like a let's kill him right now boot.
I don't even know if Groot did that, to be honest. I think Groot just like they pitched Akio to Groot, and Groot just said okay and smiled, and Puppet was like, "We got him."
So we kind of did a move, but the thing also is, remember, at the end of the day, I was able to shoot Puppet.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I will agree. Final 9, I really did. I did take more backseat. I feel like, well, in terms of the season, the truth is, I don't think I played under the radar. But Octopus played Octopus was pretty much doing grand slams, and I was just hitting doubles. I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say here, if that makes sense. Well, I was not playing under the radar, but Octopus being so over the radar gave me the opportunity to look like I was more under the radar, and I think I really did help my game. Actually, I think there's a good argument. Octopus was a big reason I won my game because I used him. I'm gonna be real. Sid, would you agree? I pretty much used Octopus as the perfect shield.
Yeah, I think you did. And conversely, I do think Octopus did the same to you as well. I'll be fair. I think that's especially why Octopus kept you at 5. But yeah, I think you both used each other's as shields.
Which was definitely the worst play of the season, is everyone keeping you because they all had to get rid of you.
I want to be fair. The only reason I said like I said, I was kind of a comp threat. Well, Quinn, mine was more of my comp threat isn't comps. It's more of like things like touchy.
It wasn't comp threat. It was the fact that Octopus pretty much just walks to the end if they get rid of you because people were too afraid of Quinn.
Well, Quinn,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
what I'm
afraid.
saying. It's like Octopus pretty much guaranteed their win if they got rid of you. I mean, even with the Uno, like maybe Pepper sticks with them because they've already lost everything. You don't
I want to
fully
be fair.
know.
Uno was a comp that really came down to the fact that two things. One, apparently they changed this now, but you could call Uno before you play your final card. And the big thing is that really makes a big impact because if you can't call now that you can't call your card at the end, you know how much that hurts. That game would just never end.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, it wouldn't be worth doing. I don't think it's ever worth doing a comp like that again, just because we spent probably 2 hours doing Uno, and Silver kept on not Uno for some gosh dang reason, and that helped me out obviously. But like, it was just a very big situation of, well, since that happened, what am I going to do now? So what I did was I won Uno, but like I said, I only won that Uno. This wasn't me being a comp threat because, like I said, on paper, it was probably better for Octopus to keep me in comp strength wise, in my opinion. But strategically, I think keeping me was a bad idea. But at Final Five, but like I said, I never expected Peppers to betray me, to be honest with you. But then when he backed down, well, Peppers just told. I'm gonna be honest, Peppers, I love you to death, but you told every single person a different thing when it comes to that. Because like I don't know which one's gonna complete. Like Sib, I know didn't he told me that he thought Silver voted for himself or something, is what he told me. And then he just didn't feel like voting me out. Then he also said it was the Wooper. And I'm like, is that really the reason to vote for me? The truth is, I don't think we ever know, and I think that's what's always going to be interesting with Final Five. But that Uno comp was definitely a comp that definitely happened.
Well, one more question before we get into season 5. Question for Angie. You voted for Peppers at FTC. What was your reasoning for voting Peppers?
I think at first I was like torn between Akio and Peppers. I think like Peppers was a bit more like social with me. Like we did like still that bond a little more. I think like I gained more trust towards Peppers, especially after Final 11 when he voted Blaze instead of me. And I was also like pretty appeased with like the answers I got given, and I like the speech as well, like from FTC.
Oh, I don't like that speech honestly.
Why?
I don't
I was
want to get
like,
into that
I was
on air.
honored when Peppers remembered my favorite letter was A and included that in his speech.
Angel, I'll shoot you a DM.
Hmm?
I'll shoot you a DM later. There's a
Okay.
reason I don't like that.
Well, okay, so now we go into season 5, which
Well,
God
before we
Almighty, this
go into
season.
season 5, I feel like there's one
My
comment that we
favorite
gotta say
season.
about season 4.
The
What
best
is it,
season of
Siren?
Era 1.
I feel like we have to honor the fact that it has probably the 2 best Survivor alliances ever. I know we talk about the whole Wooper armor a lot. We never talk about the Illuminati as much, but I still think the Illuminati is the second best Survivor alliance to this day. And if it was in any
Yeah.
other season of Survivor, it would dominate.
No, it didn't. It didn't though, because we stand Wooper in this household. This is
I mean,
Wooper.
Illuminati was a fairly strong, powerful, dominant alliance before Final
The
8.
thing is, like, as much as you want to say that the Wooper army was only 4 people, it was like 7. It had Sheep, Root, and Spin as honorary members, and they cut like 3 of them down for. And Blaze was in the Illuminati. He was the 5th
Yeah, Blaze
one.
was Illuminati.
Like,
Well,
no, they
sacrifices
almost
happen.
got the Wooper army. You know, at the end of the day, the reason the Wooper army won was because of Sheep's giving of presents, I
Idol.
guess.
I mean, sheep.
Yeah.
Sheep. I will be honest here. I think there's a genuine argument to be made about sheep having the most. I know a lot of y'all talking about Blissey in season 3, but I think you can make a really strong case for sheep season 4 having the most impact on a season being a pre-juror. There is a genuine argument.
Oh no, Sheep definitely has the most impact. I'm saying that Bliss is probably the best pre-juror boot ever. That's what I'm saying.
But
Not that.
pre-juror. Oh, because those words
Yeah,
kind of
influence definitely goes to Sheep. Oh, we'll get to talk about
Well,
Sheep. Let's get
knowing
to
that
this
yeah.
season.
Season 5 is
well.
a lot of stuff happened, but I mean, let's start off with Siren because I think Siren got the shortest end of the stick this season. Siren, what's your
Pardon me,
takes
though.
on this season?
My take on this season, and I think this is going to shock everyone. I actually love season 5.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
hard to
shocked.
explain. It's hard to explain in a way. And I feel like that when we I hate the ending still, and I always will hate the ending. But I have to talk about this from a player perspective. It was one of the most challenging experiences of my org career, and I have friends that I have met from that org that I still have. Love you, DB, buddy. I'll let us get to Era 2 before we do the whole Lex Luthor and Superman, but season 5 is the origin of it. But I think the season is amazing in its own right. It just, at least from my perspective, because I didn't really see any of the bad stuff. Like, I wasn't on the tribe that kept losing challenges. I was on this tribe with RJ, and it had interesting dynamics. And then, I was having fun because I was pulling off idling someone with 2 idols out and extra voting someone out. And I had challenges and I had experiences. And as much as I hate the way that I lost that season, it is something that I carry with me as a good thing to happen because season 5 is, at least in my opinion, a season that had to happen. It led to many rule changes, it led to many things that are staple in Era 2. It led to the community being a lot stronger, and I'll just say this last part, and then I'll let you guys all talk about the season, unless Civ has specific questions. But I'll always be thankful for when we left the reunion chat, and everyone was so supportful about what happened. So yeah.
So, could I ask something as an outsider? Because
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
so I think my perspective on this is way different. Because didn't DB and Angie both play the season?
Yep.
Yeah, both DB and Angie played this season.
And so, as someone that was not a part of the season in any capacity, because like this season was my only season. This is my only season. This is my first season since like season 3 being a true spectator, and this is probably my only one. So, from my perspective, I was watching because eventually I know All-Star seasons and things were going to happen. So as a winner, you have to watch the season. And I don't know about y'all, but I didn't think it was that bad. I like the. I think we should all. I think everyone would agree that no one has any problems with fantasy. Everyone likes fantasy. He was just kind of the victim of no good deed. He goes unpunished.
I mean, Siren and DB saw a lot of the fantasy stuff go down personally.
Yeah, we can get into that when we get into that. I don't dislike fantasy for the record now, but
I don't dislike fantasy, but I will say this, and it's something that always haunts me, and it's my least favorite part about season 5 is the fact that I could have just let Fantasy walk and then won the season. But I didn't do that because I was a good person. Because I don't know if DB will disagree with this, but most likely I win Final Four immunity still. Yeah, Final Four immunity, I still win it. If Fantasy was gonna walk when they did, because was it Final Five when that happened, right?
Yeah, it was
Final Five.
right after, around there. Yeah.
So
Right
I
after
win.
because what happened was, so we had Patrick Gate happen right after Final Six because
Oh,
Patrick
Yeah.
was so bitter of Fantasy betraying him that Patrick pretty
Yeah.
much just tried to get Fantasy like ejected on the spot.
Somehow
Yeah.
not the worst of the gates of the season, but we'll get to that later, I'm sure.
I'll get
Oh,
to
okay.
that.
There's
But
that game.
no, I mean, it's just depressing because I don't regret not having Fantasy walk because, in my opinion, I think that Fantasy is a good winner despite the I love Fantasy as a person. Uh, I can't wait to get to Era 2 and talk about Fantasy because I love Fantasy in Season 8. It's one of my favorite returning player arcs. But I think DB will agree. I win Final Four immunity. I take Sheep to the end with Strawberry. I probably win because I don't think Toast was going to vote Sheep. So I got screwed for being a nice person, and yet I'm the villain of Era 1. Isn't that funny, guys?
Yeah. I think
Imagine not being the hero of Era 1.
Yeah. I
I
lost
think
all
the
my
only
alliance.
I think the only problem I have is one of the premises that you automatically win Final Four and then you're in. I think if I don't win immunity, I'm out. But I think if I somehow make it to
Well, that's what I'm
the
saying.
end,
It's
I
like
might win.
I don't know if you beat me. No, this is what I say. If you win Final Four immunity, you win the season. If I win Final Four immunity, it's between me and Sheep.
Right.
That's specifically what I believe. Which I didn't get to see you play that challenge. I think I probably win it based off our track records, but we're both
Yeah.
compies in our own right. So it's a huge 50-50 on that front.
Yeah, my gut reaction is that I don't win and I go out at Final Four if that happens. But
Yeah,
you never
it's
know.
like it's my gut reaction to say that I'm gonna win just because I won against Sheep and Sheep did so. Although then again, my time sucks compared to the new era's time. Fucking, I didn't get
Right.
less than an hour. I'm a scrub.
Yeah,
The newer,
Jesus.
I do have to say though,
I can't
the
get over
newer
that shit.
are the new era times are way more crazy. The only comp that I don't think anyone's ever gonna get a higher score for would be Winterbells, and that's just because Yuli snorted. I don't know what Yuli took before doing that comp, but he did. He definitely. I don't know how he got that high as he did.
I feel like this is
Yeah.
a time to transition into talking about. I don't know what you want to talk about first, Civ. Do you want to take
So I'm
a
gonna
walk?
I'll shoot the first question here. This will go to Angie because she was the only pre-merge boot of all the people that played in this podcast. So how was Mallory 2.0?
Mallory 2.0. I mean, that was like pretty chill for the most part, right, from my perspective. The first vote was like kind of easy because like I think with Josh, like even like back on Edgar 1.0, he was like sort of on the bottom of my trust rankings, and so yeah, like Trap and I were like thinking we should read out Josh, and then Mallory 2.0. We won the next challenge, and then after that, Trap went, and then I was like all by myself. So and then I knew I was going, so I kind of played like the DB season 4 role and like made myself the sacrificial lamb then.
And then so probably next question we'll go to is the controversy of what we now call 10 gate, which basically what happened was very heated argument between Sheep and another player, Asian, where Asian told Sheep to off themselves. Yeah, that was a very stressful moment in the entirety of Survivor. But I mean, I'm glad that it seemed that at least a lot of the season 5 cast like got together and kind of banded behind Sheep, like just to like not have that thing ever happen again.
Yeah,
That was the experience.
that was a rough one to be a part of because I don't know entirely what the atmosphere was before, but I think a lot of people were leaning towards getting Sheep out. I think I remember like right before that happened, I submitted my vote, and then I
Yeah.
looked back in the chat and I saw everything going on. I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
No.
this isn't okay. I
No.
have
Yeah.
to take a stand here, and so I swapped my vote, and then it didn't matter because
Yeah, no. It was pretty much proven after season that if that doesn't happen, Sheep goes home. Mostly because I think it's a multitude of factors, but a good amount of people were getting revenge for Luke. I know I was. I think DB was. You know, because last tribal, which that tribal is one of the best tribals of Survivor history, by the way, in my opinion, because
Yeah,
all
I
the
agree.
extra votes on Luke, and that's the thing
Who was
with
that again?
season 5. Fundamentally, it's a good season. I mean, I know you. I guess maybe we'll talk about my swap tribe was very interesting to say the least. If you remember that one.
Yeah, that was probably Fantasy's best like in gameplay stat because I think Fantasy had control of everything in that swap tribe.
The best way to describe that tribe, although we'll talk about the controversy first, I will say this. When it comes to orgs, as a PSA, if you think an argument is getting too heated, just walk away sometimes, guys. It's not that important to tell people to off themselves and stuff like that. But I also think production probably learned from that a little bit because yeah,
Yeah.
stepping in and
You
stuff.
gotta
But
keep
it's
in
just a
mind the
whole
thing is, it's an org.
yeah. No, we
It's
always
I think
talk about the controversies and stuff like that, but we're all here to have fun in the end.
Yeah.
there's something I would like to say though. Like
Mhm.
people have to realize. Look, can I be completely honest here, Sid?
Okay.
As much as I love Survivor, it's an org, and real life obviously comes first. I think you obviously would agree. But like, yeah,
Yeah.
I understand people got to you want to win. DB, I think DB would agree with me. DB, DB, Angie, probably. I think everyone that's played would agree that you want to win, obviously. But at the end of the day, if you don't, I know it's hypocritical of the people of one of the two people that actually won to say winning doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, nothing changes if you win. I could tell you, the only thing that kind of changed was I thought congratulations, but it's not worth burning bridges and causing arguments to win the season of Newark. Like, it's just not worth it, guys. Come on, like, just do better. And it's an org. It's never gonna impact your real. It hopefully shouldn't impact your real life. At least that's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I feel like with that up, what's the next question, Seth?
You wanted to talk about your swap tribe?
I feel like it's a good thing to talk about because I feel like it doesn't get enough credit. I think it's probably. I don't know if it's the most interesting swap tribe of Survivor ever won. What do you think, Sev?
I'd say probably that or that or whatever that or Oceanside for season 3.
And if you technically counted it, the weird ass joint tribal in season 2.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think, and I think the swap tribe kind of like demonstrates one of the things of Survivor. I guess a theme of season 5, which is fuck the veterans, where they got rid of Spin because he was a veteran, if I'm correct.
Well, they wanted to get rid of. I think Asian wanted to get rid of you initially, but
Yeah.
Toast and Fantasy were like,
He
"No,
did.
shut up." Yeah, Toast and
Yeah.
Fantasy were like, "No, shut up. Let's just kill Spin."
Well, I think the main reason, I think literally the only reason I stayed was because I was way better at challenges than Spin.
That too, yeah.
Like, that's
Spin
the
got
only reason. And then, Fantasy, they had a reason they needed to sit out. And this is a PSA. If someone says they need to sit out and they give a reason, please don't argue with them. It makes it awkward for the whole tribe. Because RJ decided to do that, and which I think the only reason I literally stayed is because Fantasy refused to get rid of me.
Yeah, I think at that point, Fantasy's hatred for RJ like reached a boiling point and just
Yeah.
wanted to get rid of RJ immediately.
I mean, I also think that I was also doing pretty well socially as well.
Yeah.
I think that's another reason why I survived over Spin, because I was just happy to tag along for the ride at that point. But yeah.
I mean, I think
Are
at
you,
that point, like your Edgar 2.0 tribe, I think they can only really be united for one tribal, and after that, everything just blows apart because you have so many like conflicting personalities on there between Fantasy, Asian, and Toast that like they cannot work together for more than a singular vote, I don't think. And so after that, it's like a matter of okay, who's gonna fall in this situation?
Yeah, and I'll say this as kind of Siren's org tip of the day. When you get swap screwed, it doesn't mean it's the end. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just let things happen naturally, because I was definitely swap screwed. There's nothing about it. Fantasy did not like me at all when we swapped on that tribe, I believe, Civ.
I
Fantasy,
don't think
like,
so.
Fantasy argued with me publicly. But I think the only reason I stayed on that tribe is that I refused to change my fate. I let others do it for me. Laziness for the win. No. Yeah.
I think
Amazing swap
I think
tribe.
I think next question will go to is between both DB and Siren. Siren, I know you mentioned this a little, but kind of want to get your take on like both first merge tribals between Nathan's tribal and Luke's tribal. What was your like game plan for those first two tribals?
I think I can speak for both me and DB when I say that Nathan completely blew up their game.
Yeah.
I love you, Nathan. Best advertising we've ever had on Survivor. But for the love of God, stop targeting people.
And what was going on with the Luke vote?
I mean,
I think because I was working with Luke, and
I
I
think
think
we
we
were
were
getting
targeting someone else. I can't remember who for life of me. It might have been Sheep. It might have
no,
been someone else.
no. It was. I remember it clearly. The way it happened, and DB doesn't know this story, but this is a fun story.
Ooh.
Sheep comes up to me during the vote, or during the Nathan vote, and Sheep comes up to me and they say, "I want to get rid of Luke." And I was not having this, so I told Luke. And we go to the next tribal, and the votes went up against Sheep. But then how many extra votes was it?
I think it was 5?
Yeah, it was 5.5.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
it's that round DB where we were all pretty much all of us were voting for sheep, but then all
Yeah, I
these extra
remember
votes
that.
showed up, and it was just like, what the fuck?
Can someone remind people, because I feel like I'm not the only one that forgets that that things were a little different, but like wasn't that twist kind of like you could kind of like bank your vote almost or something?
Right, I think it was there was a power ranking, like you had to pick like which member of the 7 could beat the other member. Every time you got it
Yeah.
right, you got half a vote.
It's kind of a dumb twist, but the basic pretense of the twist was that there was a chart, and then you had to rank each player by who beat two. So like every member of the 7. So then if you get one section right, you get half a vote, and then if you get everything 100% incorrect, you lose your vote. And then after that, you have to play if you have every single section correctly formatted, you get your tribe's idol.
Oh, okay.
Fun
I
thing
remember
about
the
that.
other twist
that
as
was-
well.
I mean, a lot of twists were similar in other seasons. Like I remember the season 23 of Puppet Survivor had a very similar twist to season 4 of not Night Survivor, Survivor.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
Puppet likes to steal my twist for real, for real.
Yeah, Puppet Viber is totally mid, guys. We love you, Puppet Viber. Anyway, no, I mean, yeah. There was the other twist, which, Dev, when are we gonna release this podcast before I make this comment?
Probably a day or two after today.
Yeah, I'm not going to make...
By the way, can I mention one thing about
Actually, I can make this comment. We brought it
Yeah.
back in season 6, but we renamed it to the drug deal, and it was with both tribes. But Compound V, I think it was.
Yes, I was a part of the
Yeah, Compound
as
V.
well. I was a victim of Compound V. I got the emoji punishment, and it was like the worst time ever because we were just swapping. So it was like really hard to like communicate with my new tribe mates in emojis, but they all said I did well. So yeah.
I think
Compound
DB also
V.
had to suffer through Compound V too, if I remember correctly.
I remember I had the downside of it next season. I can't recall season 5, but season 6, I remember I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, this was also the birth of a Civivor tradition, Civ. I think we didn't talk about the wheel, or used to be our favorite twist. We don't do the wheel anymore, but it could come back.
Please
You
don't.
never know. But our favorite twist, the reward tribal.
Yeah. I loved introducing reward tribals. Lore behind that is I was actually watching Australian Survivor Heroes versus Villains, and I just see a lot of like non-limb tribals happening, and I'm like, yeah, why don't I just fuck around and make like a tribal where no one gets eliminated and someone gets like a reward out of it? That'd be cool. And so
Except for
that was
yeah.
that was the birth of Survivor reward tribals.
Best thing we ever made, in my opinion. Probably the best twist, consistency wise.
But what about the golden vote, Siren?
we don't talk about that.
I will. You get. When do you want to ask this question, Siv? I think you want to ask this question at the end.
We'll ask it. We'll ask it at the end. Let's talk about kind of the merge as a whole. So we had some big characters at the merge. Obviously, we kind of make the meme about DB, Patrick, Siren, and Max being like the only 4 rootable players in season 5. So what was your guys' like game plan throughout the merge for this for season 5?
So can I say something real quick? I'm probably gonna have because I don't think I can really any more use because I honestly thought it was tomorrow, not today, for the podcast.
Yeah, no worries.
For some reason, So if you guys need me, I'll just shoot me a text, I guess.
All right.
But please stop for now because I don't
Nah,
think I have any more.
Nah, it's
Bye.
good,
Bye, guys.
Akio. See you, man.
Boy.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna let you go first because I actually don't know your game plan and I've never asked you.
I think I don't even know if I really came in with a game plan, I'll be honest. I was coming in from the swap boot with a trio of 3, me, Patrick, and Yuli. It was sort of like people could probably imply that we were together, and from my understanding, Yuli and made it blatantly obvious that we were together. But I was just coming into that. I knew Luke from real life, so I kind of knew him, and I kind of got to know some other people. So my general idea was just kind of talk to people. I knew I had 3 people in my pocket. I had a block of 3 at least because we were kind of with each other after our swap tribe, even though I kind of wanted to Uli out over Angie, but that's another story. And I just kind of figured I'd take it like day by day and just kind of take it from there.
Solid. Siren, what about you?
I'll be 100% honest. I did not have a game plan going into the merge, like at all. My game plan was to find allies and really fucking quick. Because, I mean, all I really had was probably, like, Fantasy liked me and that was it. Like, I knew, I had Sheep, originally. I had Sheep and I had Nathan because they were fighting each other when we met at the Reward Tribe. But my main game plan is, I knew I was a winner. I knew that if I actively tried something too early, I would get murdered immediately. So I just let people do what they had to do, and then I showed up when I needed to, like the final 8 and the final 7. Yeah.
And I remember back in Final 8, you idled out Max. What was exactly, how'd that transpire?
Let's start with the first part where I didn't want to idle out Matt. I didn't even want Max out. Pretty much like everyone sold out Max. I think even like DB did, which confused me at the time. Everyone was. But my thought process was that we were gonna be able to get rid of Sheep with me and Max playing idols. And that didn't work out.
And
but
that didn't happen because Max was busy playing Pokemon.
that didn't happen. However, I will say this. I understand. Some people may think differently, even Civ. But I feel like that overall, I think like my only flaw. I think my only flaw in season 5 was not. I think I was a little bit too brutal in season 5. I think, like in season 2, we didn't talk about this legendary season 2 moment, but like in season 2, like I let the mask off at the like what final 3 was my only villain moment. But, like in season 5, the mask came off at final 8. No, final 7, because no offense to like a DB when I say this, you guys made it so obvious that at least 3 of you, I think DB's gone on the record and said that they didn't even want me out at that point.
I was telling you I wanted Strawberry out.
Yeah, but like when I won the necklace, like Uli and Patrick, like when you guys all told me Strawberry, I was like, they didn't want me to have this necklace. They're getting rid of Strawberry, and then I'm next. And like, I feel like my subconsciously, like my reaction and the way that I handled that. I know it's insane to say that I should have told Uli that they were going home, but I guess that's my one regret. Is like being. I don't even know if that's a regret. I think it's more of like. Yeah.
Well, your
But
biggest
no. Oh, man,
mistake was not realizing that Uli had an extra jury vote.
Yeah, I wonder who gave him that. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. No, but like, I feel like DB commented on this. I don't think that I was a villain in season 5, but I was someone that was. I think I was a bit too much of a coward that season. Like, I never like lied to people about how I viewed myself in the game. I thought I was completely fucked when it hit Final 7. When it hit Final 6, I was worried about everyone betraying me because who would let Siren go on any further? And I just needed more confidence. That's my one regret. I mean, I still would have won the season in today's rule standards, which we'll get to, but yeah.
One more thing before we get to, well, I guess we'll kind of breach on the controversy a little bit. Siren mentioned this a little, but DB, I do want to ask you, if it was a Siren versus Fantasy versus Sheep FTC, who would you have voted for?
God, I think it would have, if things went down exactly how they went, minus that change up, it probably would have been between Sheep and Siren for me. With recency bias, I kind of want to say Siren, but like even like looking back then, I might have been more on the Sheep side of things.
Fair enough. So, yeah, going on the Siren versus Fantasy escapade. So what happened in that is a lot of things, but I think we'll talk about the probably most controversial thing, but what made it so controversial in the first place, the golden vote. So for those of you that don't know, because the golden vote did get fixed afterwards, is that the golden vote granted you an extra vote that you can take to Final 5 with you. However, if you can take it to FTC with you, it grants you an automatic jury vote. And if you get eliminated with the golden vote in your pocket, you have an extra jury vote. So, and guess what crowning player won that legendary award, guys?
The guy who just got brutally voted out by Siren, who thought it was his best friend, and was unbelievably bitter after. Was it him, Civ?
I think it was.
Oh wow!
Whoa.
Crazy how that works.
I
But
hate
yeah,
you,
what was your
Civ.
guys' opinion on the debut of that advantage?
I'll be. I thought. Can I curse on here?
Sure, go
I
ahead.
thought it was fucking stupid. I'll be honest.
I
Just like
agree.
I might have been, it might have just been, especially like how it ended up turning out. But just looking at it, like, how the fuck is this supposed to be balanced? Like, it's either going to be very inane and not going to do anything, or it's going to lead to, well, we'll get to that when we talk about Final Tribal Council, but just like, oh god. At least, like, the extra jury vote part, I didn't know how it makes sense.
Yeah.
No offense to you, you know I love you, Civi, but that was a
No, yeah.
choice.
Angie, what was your take on the advantage?
Yeah, I feel yeah, I agree. It's kind of stupid. It's a bit broken, like the automatic the automatic jury vote as well, even though it didn't really come to play since the guy we wanted got eliminated straight after.
Yeah. Corny, what's your opinion on it, if you have one?
I cannot give an opinion to something I haven't experienced yet, but it from the from what I've heard, it's definitely an interesting thing. Yeah, I haven't spoken much here.
I guess
Everyone
it's
is
my
talking
turn.
my
Siren, let's go to you with this advantage. What's your
I'll
opinion on it?
be 100% real. I know people are gonna be shocked by my answer, but considering that I've had we're at season 11, I've had 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 6 seasons or a 5. My personal opinion is that I think that you could have every aspect of the golden vote except for the extra jury vote as a juror. Maybe one day, this has always crossed my mind. I wish if we ever do something like that again, I wish I knew Yuli had an extra vote or an extra jury vote possible before I did what I did. But yeah, I don't like the golden vote as it was in season 5. I don't think it completely fucked me. I'll be 100% real. I think that my loss is a lot more complicated than just golden vote bad, but it did contribute to it.
So yeah, after that we did fix the golden vote. We made it so it was an extra vote that cannot be stolen under any pretense whatsoever. Which I think that's much more balanced as an advantage, I think, in my opinion.
I'd agree.
But yeah, so then we go into the FTC itself. Go into the FTC itself, which is there's a lot of situations that kind of occur with that made Siren lose. But I think the biggest constant for me personally, and you guys feel free to disagree with this, but I think Max not being present for FTC is the biggest problem for that occurred for Siren because Max wasn't able to ask a question. He was at summer camp at that point, and the second he got eliminated, I think he pre-voted his FTC votes. He told me that he would either vote for Fantasy and if not Fantasy Siren. So yeah, what was your guys' opinion on this FTC?
I think if we want to play hypotheticals, I think Asian being like outright removed from the jury and kicked, that might have been a decisive factor because then RJ was brought back and put on the jury. And RJ didn't ask a single question. And then when it came down, or like he didn't interact in Ponderosa, he didn't do anything. And then like day of final tribal, he just like, oh well, I'm gonna vote for fantasy because winner shouldn't win twice.
Yeah, I think that's my take as well. I agree with that. Because I think it's the whole RJ thing that changes things because of his whole take of winners shouldn't win again. You shouldn't have 2-time winners at all.
Because if you look at like everyone else's reason, Max not being there, well, that's real life. You know, real life gets in the way of stuff. Everyone else who ended up voting, Uli was arguably too bitter and had a BS advantage. But if you're bitter, to a degree, bitterness is the fault of the person who makes you bitter. So you can't blame him too much there. Toast, I think, was convinced that we were all going to vote fantasy, and then all of a sudden, when we started saying, "Oh no, wait, Silence should probably win," he was the last one to get the memo and was after the fact. And then like everyone else who voted, I think that is everyone else, like they had like understandable like either game related reasons or shit that happened outside the game. But RJ was, I don't want to quite say metagamey, but it's sort of like a reason beyond the season or beyond the scope of things that are controllable.
Right. Siren, what was your take on FTC as a whole?
I never thought I would have to talk about this FTC live. But here we are. My thoughts, that FTC scars me. Like, personally. Like, it scars me a lot. I won't get into too many specifics, but I lost a friend that day. I lost a friend in that tribal. I got yelled at for shit that other people started. I lost to someone that admitted that I played better. Someone, the deciding vote. Love you, Strawberry. I think you're a great person, but going up there and saying that I played better, but not giving me the win. Everyone. Like, even, like, no offense to DB, I know you weren't doing this on purpose, but, like, everyone was, like, taking stabs at me at that FTC, and I didn't understand why at all, from my point of view. I mean, some people did it more than others, but it was just a painful experience, and the part that makes it the worst at all is, for me, it feels like, Civ, you've watched, Fans vs. Favorites too?
Yeah.
It's like, when at that FTC, Brenda tells Dawn
Spoiler
to
alert, by the
take
way.
out their teeth. Like,
Yeah,
Yulai,
spoiler
like,
alert.
did that to me. I guess spoiler warning to everyone, but, it's just like, I was asked these questions by people, like, dug at me, like, to, like, be honest with them. And, like, Yulai just, like, puts me on the spot, like, as a person. And, just, like, I get dragged to the coals. And I don't even win. And I felt like I let people down when I lost that season as well. I felt I let Luke down, someone that twice lost in front of me and was my ally. I felt like I let the fans watching down, getting so close as a winner and losing. And for a long time, until I came back and played again, it haunted me. And yeah, it's just a horrible experience. And I feel like my one thing to say to people about it is, I don't hate when people are bitter. Bitterness sometimes is the fault of the person. But can you at least be reasonable to the people that are sitting there? That's all I can ask of people. And I know, like, everyone was reasonable that day except for Yulai, but it kind of messes me a little bit. I say Season 5 FTC is the worst FTC of Survivor history, in my opinion. Yeah, that's all I gotta say, other than I'm happy that we have new voting rules.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Thank God.
Like, if I can
Yeah.
pipe in with like some of my own thoughts on that final
Yeah.
tribal, like,
Yeah, go ahead.
I remember, like, at least me personally, I kind of had problems with every single player there to some degree. I remember in the aftermath of the Uli vote, I don't even think Siren meant this, but he said something to me that seemed more like boasty about the aftermath because Uli was my ally. He did kind of blindside me with that, and it objectively was a good move, but I felt like he was rubbing salt in the wound after. Fantasy, and with hindsight, I realized with Patrick Gate and all the stuff that went down there, I understand how it went down when it was, but I thought I was going out at Final Six. And then Fantasy and Patrick like reach out to me. It's like, okay, we're gonna try to save you. We're gonna go to Rocks. And I have this great moment of hope. It's like, I might be able to make this. Who knows what's gonna happen? Then Fantasy starts going off on Patrick, and then shit starts scrambling. I want to kill myself because I think, oh god, I'm fucked. And then all of a sudden, Patrick is the target, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And then after the fact, Fantasy's having this breakdown moment, and Fantasy ends up telling me like, I will do anything I can to get you to the end. And right after that, Fantasy votes me out. And that was a little irritating. And then Strawberry, if you were there and you remember my little jury speech to Strawberry, you kind of can understand some of my animosity.
I remember that.
And like I have no personal opinions towards Strawberry one way or the other, mainly because Strawberry didn't really talk to me at all, which was partially the problem, I guess, but it was just kind of the level of inaction that Strawberry did and then ended up going to the end. Like my whole pitch was at 7, like Strawberry is the GOAT, and if you don't control that GOAT, it's not your GOAT, so it's not going to work. And just seeing like chronically on and on and on, Strawberry just kept going on. That just irked me. And so I just remember like coming into the final 5 just thinking, what the hell am I going to do? And then I was able to take my bias out of it, I'd like to think, I ended up, I think I was fairly fair. Maybe not nice necessarily, but I think I was fair and I didn't cross any boundaries with my jury interrogation, but I know there was a lot of bad feelings, like just generally, especially coming from like the Ulis.
Yeah, no, 100%. I never like saw you or like anyone else on that jury as like trying to hammer me, but like Uli like just came in with a sledgehammer and kicked the shit out of me. So I thought the rest of you were also pissed at me. Oh god, that was a very
I kind of was,
very...
but I wasn't like Uli levels.
Yeah, no, because like one of the main things I kind of like realized is that I knew some people. I didn't think people were necessarily pissed at me. They were more so pissed in the way that I got to the end. Like everyone had like this kumbaya moment where they're like, "We're gonna get rid of Strawberry the goat, and we're gonna have this epic ass battle." And then I just came out of nowhere and said, "Fuck that! I want to win." and yeah. I think that was the moment that solidified my era 1 villain status. I don't know why Civ gave me that, honestly. Sometimes, but
Alright, so my final question for season 5 is kind of, you guys touch on this topic a little, but what do you two think would happen if Strawberry went out at final 7 and it was, Siren, Fantasy, Sheep, and DB, Patrick, and Uli?
I honestly don't know. I think I was kind of in the more loyal mindset of sticking with the good Colonels with me, Patrick, Uli. And then at the end it would have been me versus Patrick with Uli at the side, because from my understanding, people were not a fan of Uli's game even before all that.
Yeah, I don't think he. I think Uli. A lot of people thought Uli was a goat, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And like it's hard to entirely guess what would happen from there. I don't know
think
entirely.
I think
I
I'll
don't even
chime
know if
in
that
as
final three would work out. Making it to the end. I mean,
yeah, I think I'll chime in. First of all, the statement of Yuli being a goat. The only reason I eliminated Yuli in the first place, and I don't know, DB, do you know the main reason why I eliminated Yuli over
wasn't it
you or
because I was
Patrick?
immune?
No, I had immunity at the final
Oh, right,
seven.
right.
That's
Yeah,
why.
what am I thinking?
No, I wanted to originally get rid of Patrick. Like going into the final seven, I was like, I think it's finally time to get rid of Patrick or Fantasy. And you know what happened, DB?
Tell me.
The greatest moment of irony. It's because Yuli won the golden vote. Because you have Fantasy. Fantasy approaches me and he says, "There's this final four with me, Yuli, DB, and Patrick. We have to get rid of one of those three." And the first thing that hits my mind is, if Fantasy goes, and the first thing that hits my mind is that if I don't get Sheep to side with me, the best I can do is Rocks with Fantasy and Strawberry. And I can't do that if this stupid extra vote exists. So I have to shoot Uli. That's the only reason why Uli went.
It makes sense on paper. At least like all the information on paper that you had.
I still think to this day that if I didn't shoot Uli and I shot you or Patrick, I lose the game. I don't even make it to FTC. I think Civ would agree.
Yeah, I think.
Like,
I think if it's like DB boot at 6, I think it's like probably like a Sheep Fantasy. I think it's just Sheep Fantasy Strawberry, probably. Maybe like a Patrick Uli versus Patrick Uli Fantasy FTC, but that's like the biggest possibility.
I will say that if we go into the future where Yuli wanted to go to the end with DB and Patrick, and let's say that Patrick does that thinking that they can beat DB, which is a huge possibility, I would be camp DB 100% of the way. I would not vote Patrick over DB unless DB had the worst FTC speech imaginable.
Which you never
And
know.
I
I
understand
could
that.
have completely dropped the ball, but we will.
And I'm
never.
saying like, I'm saying maybe you could have, but like, the thing with Patrick in season 5 is that they were all business. The thing with you is that I feel like I could respect you a lot more.
I'll take that.
Because I think Civ knows this. I don't vote people usually based on if I like them. I'll not vote you if I don't like you. Like if you're rude to me, but like likability isn't really a trademark when I vote as a jury member. But yeah, I feel like we got all the season 5 marks, Civ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's time to move on to season
one
6.
more thing.
What's
Can
up?
we take a
Evie,
moment to
what's the-
appreciate it's too early, but to appreciate how Breeze was one of the first boots, and then later on ends up winning after this season.
That was so
Yeah.
funny.
Considering
Just
the
that little
story
bit of character development.
considering this statement even more, we'll talk about this more when we get to season 6. But a legend was born in season 5 as well.
Yeah.
The legend of the man with idols. We still
So,
need to
yeah,
release that story.
we need
Civ. We
we
still
need
need to release it.
Oh, I know
Alright,
who you're
so
talking about.
going into season 6, I think season 6 is a very complicated season on a public level because I know a lot of players in spec love season 6 to death. Like, I know you love season 6, Angie. I know Quinn
Yeah,
loves
season 6
season
was kind of fun.
6. I know Butter loves season 6. I know DB loves season 6. But season 6 to me just always confused me because there's just a lot of moves that I was like, I couldn't wrap my head around. And maybe because everyone was going so fast and my mind was going so slow. But, I mean, yeah.
Season
What
6, more like give the win to Quinn season.
True.
I think the I think the I think one of my first questions is like probably oh, by Corny, but probably
By
the
Corny.
just the entire max through Martell boot, so final 10 through final 8. What was your guys' plans for those tribals?
If you can just edit in my season 5 commentary, take out the bit with Patrick and Yuli, it's basically the same thing. I kind of played things by ear. I think I set up like a at the start I set up I think it was like a host table alliance
Yeah, it
just
was a
because I
hurt
got
table.
generally like good vibes from everyone who was hosting an org at the time. So that was me, Angie, Puppet, Butter, and Martell. Someone else might have been in there. I forget
It
off
was
the
just
top of
us
my
five, I
head.
think.
I think it was
Yeah.
just 5, yeah. But we kind of had like I kind of had that going on. Um, at least starting off, I sort of had something good with Quinn and Max at the start because we all went to the RV lab together. So we had alliance at the start. I believe I immediately I flipped on that like right at the start and got Max out because I knew that he got something. So that didn't last very long. I don't think Quinn liked me the rest of the game there, but we can get that later. But just kind of same idea. I also had an advantage, which we can get to later, but
Angie, how about you?
I think with the Max Pro, everyone would like went off touchy subjects for like, who was the biggest social butterfly. And there was also another thing. I think Max was like actually the only person who went to the drug deal whose advantage I didn't know about whatsoever. So there was also like the vote was also based on that as well. And I think that's why DB voted for him as well, if I
yeah.
recall correctly. And then with Toast, Quinn won immunity, and then I heard like from the Fruity Alliance, which was me, Skylar, Quinn, and Toast, that they wanted to vote out DB, who was in my other alliance, the first table, and they like voted immediately, and I was like, and I knew that like it was gonna be probably DB, and then I thought of an alternative plan of voting out Toast simply because like he has the safety without power, and I knew if we voted out Skylar at that round, he'd probably use it at 8, and if Quinn won immunity at 8, then like who would we vote? And I think also like getting rid of Toast, he knew like what my advantages were, like the steal vote and the other advantage that got played at like the swap tribal. And I still kept my like still vote on me. Like I never used it. It was a bit risky because like I was like not sure who he told about that advantage. And then with Martell, I think yeah at 8 he thought about flipping, and then I think at first we wanted to go, was it Quinn or Skylar?
I
One
don't
of the
think it
two,
might
because
have
like
been Puppet.
yeah, Puppet won immunity. That was the thing.
Right. Yeah.
So we couldn't vote him because we knew that he was a flipper. Like every like parchment
Right.
analysis was like a really big thing within season
Right,
6
yeah. And
as
like
well.
Puppet literally if we can roll back the clock a little bit and talk about the toast boot. Um because I remember pissing myself as it was going on because I lost my original votes, I believe. But I had a vote sniper, so I was able to take Toast's vote and turn it on him. And I forget the exact numbers, but I realized that it should have been a certain number, but it ended up not being. And so I remember like immediately turning to Angie's like, okay, I had my vote stolen. If I didn't have my vote sniper, I would be out right now. And
Yeah,
so
and if
we had
Martel didn't, and Martel had the disadvantage as well. Like he went to the court because I think it was because he didn't write his last vote on the patch, so he
right,
had
it
his
was.
vote randomized, and like luckily for like at least you, it
Yeah.
randomized to Toast,
It
and he even
just
hinted it like after I suggested like Toast's name in the chat.
yeah, it just so happened to land on Toast, but we kind of figured out because Puppet did a thing where he just kept writing the name of the
Yeah,
person he wanted out over his last one, and we kind of realized,
yeah,
wait,
he
this is
used the
Puppet.
TikTok part. Yeah,
Yeah,
because like he
and
played the extra vote at the Claire Tribal as well,
right.
which I believe he got from the drug deal the round prior. And then, so yeah, I think
Right.
we final 8. We knew that Martel flipped was
Oh, we
going
know
to flip,
Puppet
and so it was
flipped,
like
and we knew Puppet flipped, and I think we
yeah,
assumed that Martel might have flipped if
Martel was
he
gonna flip
had
on
the
you at
opportunity.
8. Yeah, and then we got back. It was like tribe split again, like Whites versus Goodmans, like the OGs at least, and then we used the vote sniper, and I think they did the top hat misplay as well, and then we got Martel out then. And and that round was like the birth of the meme of like we got to get the fucking white people out there.
Yep. I'm still to this day I'm still kind of sad that wasn't the episode quote.
Yeah, that's
That
my
was so
bad.
funny.
Can I say something after this whole topic?
What's up? Yeah, what you want to say, Corny?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I just wanted to say that um, season 6 is the first season I actually tried fully spectating on, and honestly, I genuinely really like the cast of it. It has some very, very, very vibrant personalities. You got DB, Quinn, Angie, Skylar, a lot of people. Puppet being a good villain. It's ju- it's a really fun cast if you think about it, especially the people that made the merge.
Yeah.
Well, everybody except Claire, but Claire's something we will get.
Goddamn Claire. In fact, since we're on the topic, why don't we talk about the season 6 merge episode?
All right.
Did someone
So
say
what?
top hat?
Yeah,
I
how did you
did.
guys feel about that?
I remember because we saved Claire the travel before, and like the pre-merge was interesting because we ended up our tribe lost, and the swap happened so that we had pretty much everyone except it might have been Butter, it might have been someone, it might have been
It was
Angie actually.
Angie. It
Yeah,
was Angie,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was the
Angie
only one
went.
who swapped.
Yeah,
I think
Angie
it
was.
was Angie and Skylar who
Yeah,
swapped.
Skylar was on our tribe, and we're thinking, oh, this is fucking easy. We just boot out Skylar. And then something happened that was it that
Skylar got
Skylar went
sent
to
to drug
exile or
deal.
just went to the other tribe? We couldn't vote out
Skylar got sent to
Skylar.
drug deal, yeah.
And so it was just well fuck, what do we do now? And I remember it ultimately just came down, at least in my mind. I reached out to both Claire and Blissey, and in like a weird, like the strangest turn of events in Survivor history, Claire was actually active that day. Which let's
Unlike
take a
all other
moment
days.
to appreciate it. Um, And she was like, "Oh, I want to stay. You know, I'm with you and this and that." And then I told Blissey, like I asked Blissey what was up, and she asked me what was up. And I was like, "I heard your name might be out there," and all she kind of told me was like, "Yeah, I heard. I can understand why people wanted that," and that's all I got from her. And so in my mind was like, "Well, I guess I got to go with Claire and save her here." And coming from that, and then just seeing Claire get immediately voted out, I'm just like, oh, well, so much for that.
I got like a lot to say about the merge episode. So I think this was like the first of two merges where there was one player I didn't meet at the pre-merge, and like the two were very night and day. With Skylar, I think they immediately asked if I wanted an alliance with Quinn and Taurus, which was a bit weird at first. I also got like the host table thing going on as well, and I was like, I should just join like both alliances and see what's going on, get the full tea. And then yeah, it wasn't that hard to like see which one I wanted to decide with more, because I was not a fan of like how Skylar played at like final 11, like with the whole like immediate Martell vote steal. And then the top,
Yeah.
I think like it was the top hat that like really threw me off her. So that's how like Claire's demise was.
Right. So yeah, Top Hat and Vote Sniper are two of the most interesting advantages we've ever had on Survivor, I think. And they changed the game a lot in a lot of ways. Yeah, I think season 6 there's a ton of big moments. I forget if there is one moment we have to talk about pre-merge, the only like pre-merge part we need to talk about because season 6, because God, season 6 pre-merge was awful.
Did someone say the Hue tribal?
Yeah, the Hue tribal was
I knew that was coming up.
I still
It-
state to this day that people don't realize how bad they were in that tribal. Some
I think
people, specifically one.
I think Puppet.
Yeah, it's Puppet. I'm not gonna say that everyone else. This is just my opinion on the Hue tribal, and I think Angie was there, right? Were you there, Angie?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, she was.
The problem that ended up happening is that you guys, and I think this was mainly because of Puppet's comments and framing it in a bad light, and some of you guys were just bandwagoning in a way. But like, Hugh was like fighting for their life, and Puppet was like, "That's illegal."
Yeah.
It was
It
so
was.
stupid.
I remember. I think both of them did this, but I remember I had to stop them from changing their names.
Oh yeah, they
During
did that
tribal,
like constantly.
and it
I was
was
gonna
like,
say
guys,
something
shut
about
the
that
fuck up.
tribal.
Yeah, it was a very annoying tribal as a host to watch, but I mean, I did enjoy watching that to an extent. It was just a very polarizing thing to watch. In
I think
hindsight,
Hugh was like realistically the only choice I really had, because like with Taurus, I went to Exile with him twice, and we are like, hey, we could like bond and like have an alliance with us two. And surprise, surprise, we were like we were swapped together at that round. And then with Puppet and Martel, I had alliance with both of them. Like I think like that tribal as well. So like, and then Hugh was like the only one I wasn't like really aligned with. I would like get to Quinn and Max, but like they're like exiled. And what else? Yeah, and then the reason why I threw Toast's name to you, like, which Toast didn't mind at like the slightest, because I felt like the reason why I did that was because I thought that Puppet and Martel would mind, especially considering that I just got into an alliance with them. So yeah.
I mean, I will say this. I think that it was in everyone's best interest to get rid of Hugh. I've never denied that. Getting rid of Hugh, good move. It's just kind of weird to see some people that like we thought were super wholesome, or at least like not super villainous, like Toast and Angie. I don't know if DB was there. I don't think DB was there.
No,
DB was
DB
not
was
there.
on
I was not.
White Tribe. No, he was on
DB was
Goodman Tribe. My
also
bad.
yeah, and he was also exiled, so he wouldn't be there regardless.
Yeah. But yeah, I think a lot of those allies that went out early merge and pre-merge, which makes it kind of weird that I have Quinn at best winner, but Quinn did play a dominant game all in all. It's just that, sometimes you lose allies, and that's a part of the game. Akio loses allies. He lost his allies a few times, and other players have, but yeah, Quinn managed to go far with the fucking dumbest alliance name ever, White Supremacy Alliance, which to this day, funniest alliance name ever. But I do have some questions about FTC, because obviously season 6 is a lot different from most modern seasons. Is that it was a final 2 and not a final 3, like past and future seasons. So a big question I want to ask to both Angie and DB is, if it was a final 3 instead of a final 2, would you have voted Quinn or Knight?
I think I would have voted Quinn. I
Um,
didn't see much of like Knight's game in all honesty, other than like him like flipping every vote. Like I think that was all I seen. But I feel like even though like the physical side could be like argued against, I think like Quinn made like some really good plays, like advantage wise and like strategically. So that's kind of like why I would go for Quinn over Knight.
I don't know. I
What about you,
speak.
DB?
I remember I had some like I felt Quinn was like weirdly mean to me at the time, which is funny now because I love Quinn and we're tight, but I felt like she was a little unnecessarily mean to me at times. And I even forget like why that was the case, if it was even. But I just remember like having some issues, so I wasn't fully convinced I would vote for them. In the hypothetical, I don't know if I would, just because I don't remember much of Knight's game either. So I'm gonna say I'd like to say I'd vote for Quinn, but I can't comment fully.
I will say, as a production outsider, I think Knight wins that vote straight up. People are just bitter
I don't.
towards Quinn, and I think it's a close vote, but I think that Knight wins.
I don't think.
I
I don't think
I
Knight
don't
wins. I think Butter beats Quinn, but Knight doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
No,
agree
but
I
with
it's
that.
think so.
a final 3
100%.
between
Yeah.
Butter, Knight, and Quinn. Okay, I
Like
was thinking if it was the Skylar Quinn.
No, well, we were talking about Quinn, Knight, Skylar, but I mean, I think Quinn wins
I'll be
that.
honest,
But I think
I was more bitter towards Skylar if anything than Quinn, because I feel like Quinn played really well, and then Skylar was just like it
right.
was like a really polarizing game that I saw.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I could respect it.
It doesn't help that
Uh,
Skylar can't perform in a final tribal council
we'll,
workshop.
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Oh boy.
Iron's hot take
Oh, boy.
coming in 20 minutes. I don't know if it's a hot take, but
Probably
We'll have to
not.
wait and see to find out.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Uh, final question I want to ask. Angie, were you surprised that you got pots at all, or no?
A little. I think like given like how I played it sort of made sense. Like with merge, like playing both sides and not like trying to like overplay my hand either, given I had like the silver and all that. Like I really wanted to keep that to myself. And I suppose let other people like play their advantages and like mess up themselves. Because like I think it was a bit of a risk knowing that there was word that I did have that still vote, so I didn't want to like play it at all.
Right.
It makes sense to me that Angie was player of the season. I forgot it was, but like remembering her game, like I remember rooting for her when she was out.
Yeah,
I was kind of sad.
I saw a lot of Ponderosa like after I went out, and there were like a lot of people that were rooting for me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. All right. So I think it's time to go to our final season in Era 1. Survivor XCOM fans versus favorites, and it's probably the most it's the most like mixed opinion season of Survivor, I think. Because there's a
I
lot of
hate
amazing
fans.
moments and a lot of awful moments. But I think we should talk about probably the worst moment. And I think this was a season that a lot of people. I don't know if Angie, DB, or Corny did, but I think a lot of spectated vigorously that season and kind of just saw a lot of bad stuff happen. But
I tried
Well, yeah, I
to.
expected for sure.
Yeah,
Is it the moment that I'm thinking about?
the top nap fucking VC moment where he gets angry at me and Siren for warning him not that he might get in trouble for doing something and does it anyways.
Oh my god, I remember the fans tribe. The fans tribe was like when Top was on the fans tribe, he was like awful. Like, because I remember it was the artistic integrity challenge, and then he was like popping off. I was like, I did not like seeing that. It's so toxic.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I won't say much about that moment. What I will say is I personally, and I know that Civ may disagree with this statement, I don't like fans versus favorites personally. I agree that it has good moments. I'll never deny that. But I don't like it as a season overall, personally.
Another thing we have to talk about, which I mean, this doesn't. A lot of people like came together in support of what happened, but I don't think a lot of people really recognized how just crazy this was. The Hugh medevac, which we won't go into like a ton of detail for, but it is important to comment on.
You?
It was a very stressful thing to talk about and like perform, but I think it's something that like definitely needed to happen.
Yeah. I don't know how you can measure this, or even if you should measure it, but Hugh has to be the unluckiest player, I think, in Survivor. Because you had that tribal in 6, and then the medevac in 7 for reasons that I don't know about, but I can only assume. And just all of
It's totally
that,
like
it's
no.
not a fun combo.
Yeah.
What I will say, and we won't get into specifics about this, but it is something me and Civ have talked about. But Hugh will be back on another flagship season. We just won't say which one.
Yeah.
Hugh will get a flagship season if they want it, of course.
Winners at War?
No, hell no. They haven't won yet. Fuck that. After I
You
get
won
robbed of
over
season 5,
you won over our hearts. Come on, guys.
if we ever do,
Exactly. Civ
you know what,
gets it.
Civ?
Did he win fan
what,
favorite
Civ?
twice?
We have to.
Well,
We
to
have
be
to.
fair, we don't count. I don't count season 7 because of the whole moment. But
I mean, I'll say this for
Hugh
everyone
did get the
watching.
most votes.
Yeah, I'll say this for everyone watching. If we ever, I think this is very unlikely, but if we ever do a Survivor fans versus favorites 2, Hugh will be the first pick.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think we ever will, but if we do.
Yeah. So then after that, well, we can't go after that because we still have probably to this day the one of, if not the best tribal councils in Survivor history, we have the Groot fans versus favorites boot,
Oh
where
God.
How spent pretty much 22 hours being the guaranteed boot, unanimous boot. Everyone was voting How. And then he comes out of nowhere, like final 2 hours of Tribal, and pulls the vote on Groot somehow. And to me, that is. I went crazy watching that. Like, it was some of the craziest gameplay I've ever seen. And I don't know how much of you guys saw of that, but that was amazing in my opinion.
I
What
don't
did
recall
you
too
guys
much, so you'll have to fill me in.
Wasn't
Like, how did he change it? How did he turn things
How did
around?
Hal change the vote?
Eh,
So what
exactly.
happened was, what happened was that I think How had an alliance with Groot, Spin, and Max, I believe. So Groot told him a name, and then Spin came up to How and said, "Yo, dude, Groot's throwing you under the bus. He's trying to get rid of you. Octopus and Peppers are trying to vote you out. We gotta get them to help you." So they, I think How works on getting Max to stay on their side, and then Spin tries his best to get Octopus and Peppers to flip because Spin is letting How take an advantage. He's giving How the money, but they don't want to waste the advantage, obviously. So Spin takes care of How, and How gets Max to stay on foot. So then it lands to be I think it was a 5-1 or a 4-2 and one of the
It
ones
was pretty
being
much
Hugh.
unanimous.
It was pretty much
He was the
unanimous.
only. Yeah, he was the only one that didn't vote Groot, I believe, and voted Hal, but
didn't
that was
Hugh?
because I think they were literally asleep.
Oh, I
Mhm.
thought
Yeah,
I thought
Hugh
it was the one that
self-voted.
Hugh was it like self-voted? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
Hugh self-voted. I think it was this self-vote, if I remember correctly. But that was one of my favorite tribal councils of all time. Yeah, I think after that, it just happens to be a lot of back and forth just nonsense because top sobers up, but then we get an even bigger and even bolder villain in the swap. The man, the myth, and
The
not
man
the
that hates
legend,
Ear.
BHG,
Yeah.
and Erier's best friend ever. BHG. I mean, on one hand, I have to love the fact that someone like BHG played the season because at the end of the day, BHG is a villain, uh, and he kind of wears that on his chest as much as he wants to deny the fact that he is a villain. He is in fact a villain at the end of the day, and he may not embrace it initially, but he does embrace it. But at the other hand, it's just very hard to watch at times, because there's so many people that they want to play the game in a fun way, and BHG just his strategy just isn't fun for a lot of people to watch. And I don't know what your guys' opinion on BHG's gameplay is, but
I think that BHG could have done well in this season if they didn't jump the gun. They had everything, and then they're like, let's get rid of a duo that doesn't exist.
yeah. But yeah, the BHG just had a ton of moments, and then we get into the final 14, which I mean, final 14 through final 10, all pretty fun triples. Final 14, we had the Noisy versus Top Nep fire making challenge.
Oh my god, the chess.
Oh man.
Top Nep obliterated Noisy, and that was kind of crazy to watch. So, and then after that, we got the Top Nep vote out at final 12, where Top Nep wrote this this shit post copy pasta final words thing, and he made a video about it too. I think I need to
Yeah, there's a
to
Oh yeah,
look
it was a
back, but
Minecraft video. I remember that.
he made a Minecraft video off of his final words, and it's just so funny to look at. I need to rewind and find it because I know he had it somewhere, and I know I still have his doc saved. So if I can find that, that'd be wonderful.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, but and then we got the Donovan vote out at Final 11, which is even more funnier in hindsight. But I mean, even even
Yes, Donovan.
even before that,
Yeah.
Donovan
Honestly,
vote out was legendary.
honestly, reliving these moments, I don't think I hate this season. What I will say is that a legendary moment in that season I will always remember is I think I'm gonna get Civ to remember it with this comment. My precious.
Oh
If you
yeah,
remember,
yeah, fucking
David's.
octopus.
No, it was
Octopus.
Benno and BHG, where BHG is like, I want your trust ranking, and then Benno's like, my precious!
Oh yeah, that.
Never forget that. So,
I remember now. BHG was fucking asking Caleb and Benno for trust rankings. It was so weird.
and then Benno was like fucking with him. My
I
precious.
think half of the funny moments consist of Benno just screwing with BHG.
Yeah. And I mean, like, honestly,
Mhm.
considering everything, it's a good season. It's just it went from a pagonging to a reverse pagonging. If you truly think about it.
Yeah, because
I mean,
like
even that.
the favorites are going out, and then the fans are going out.
And
I
it
think,
kind of
and I
like
think the big problem of that is that like a lot of the big players of the favorite of the each side are going out pretty much simultaneously. Like you have Caleb going out
Yeah.
at 9, BHG going out to at 8, which we'll touch on a bit more later. But you know, he's regardless of opinion, he's still like a huge character. Then you have Benno
before we
going,
talk about
and
that
then
vote out, Civ, would you like to confirm that you would like to talk about that vote out?
yes, I would. You know, after Benno's vote out, you have Peppers, you know, who won Player of the Season in season 7. And you have Octopus, who I don't think Octopus was a big character that season. I think Octopus kind of simmered down. And then you
Yeah,
know
I don't think I saw
Connor.
as much that season either.
This
And
is
then you had Connor,
Connor's
also not a
weakest
big character.
season. This is
Yeah.
Connor's weakest season, but like I also kind of see it as like the beginning of the legendary Connor that we'll get to talk about in their other 2 seasons. I still hate to this day that Connor didn't make FTC.
Which season?
Connor should have made FTC. But we'll get to that.
Season 7.
Can I ask you guys a
yeah.
logistical question?
Yeah.
What's up?
How did you guys decide the favorites exactly?
Okay, so I can answer you that question. So initially, so I went by season by season. Went by season. I asked people. So I went from season to season. I looked at who had the most votes of each season for fan favorite.
Right.
And then I wrote down second and third place, not counting winners in each season. So then I just went down by down to see who I could invite. So King, I invited from season 1. He said no. And then I invited How from season 2. He said yes. Big Mike, season 3. He said yes. Octopus and Peppers, both from season 4, they had a solid chunk of votes. I think Octopus won fan favorite and Peppers
Yeah, he
got
did.
second, I believe. And then season 5, Max and Sheep tied, if I remember correctly, and it was basically like a choice between Max
Don't
and Sheep.
forget
And I
the
was
other
like,
person that tied with them, the legendary Shane.
What?
oh yeah, Max Sheep and Shane tied.
Let's
Max
go,
Sheep and
Shane.
Shane tied.
I can't
So
get
I had
over that till this day.
Gang,
to
gang.
That was
choose.
the funniest part of season 5 reunion.
And I had to. I chose between those three, and I was like, okay, Shane played once, so I mean, it's sort of more fair to have a. Regardless of Shane's performance, if Shane did win fan favorite or at least tied, I think it's fair to let a one-time player onto fans versus favorites. And then season 6, we had Hugh, and I think another player. I forgot who.
We had
but-
Skylar as well.
Yeah, we had Skylar as well, who I think got a solid chunk of fan favorite votes. But yeah, that was our main takeaways from that. We did have some like we had like some like planning for the worst solutions. I think we gave like a few players like if we have to, will you play season 7 invites?
One of the main things I will discuss, and I think it's a good thing to say just in case when we do like other season casting. One of the things that we had to consider when we did the casting is two people that we ended up considering were Silver and Sheep.
Yeah.
But we ended up passing on them because, first of all, Octopus and Sheep gave Octopus an idol, and and then of course Silver was in the Whooper army, and we felt like having like 3 people that were technically Whooper strong would be a bit too much.
Right.
Like, we do consider past season relationships a little bit, but we don't consider that until after we get people that we want to be on
like
the cast.
I'm fine with some like preseason friends that played together, like Peppers and Octopus. Obviously, I was fine with letting in, but
You and Skylar.
you can't let like too many of those in at simultaneously, or else it becomes a bit problematic. But I think overall, our favorites, selection of favorites was good. There, since you, DB and Angie, you both spectated the season, were there any favorites that you were like really hyped to see play?
I remember being curious how Topnep was gonna play, just because he was prod in every season, in like every org. And I don't know, like I didn't know if he played before, so I was just gonna be curious to see how that went. And we know how that went. Wasn't a favorite, but like a player. And then I was curious to see like my past alumni, Max, who I helped vote out every time he went out before.
Yeah, the Max story, how Max loses season 5 with 2 idols in their pocket, season 6 with a gambler's idol in their pocket, and then in season 7 they made a vow to not go look for idols. That's the season that they won, everyone. Moral of the story, don't look for idols.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was also the season that I wasn't in, that he was in, so also don't play with me.
Oh yeah, same here. That's
Don't
also the same with me.
play with DB. Yeah, don't
Also,
play with DB or
another
Angie.
thing-
Max.
Another thing to talk about, I'll say this quickly, although we'll get into more depth about this. I think Max, and I don't know, it's weird for me to say this, Max isn't my most disliked winner, but I don't like Max winning fans versus favorites. I do understand that they earned it, but Team Skylar all the way. 100%. I know why Skylar lost, but I still feel the sting of that.
Alright, so I think one topic that kind of should be discussed is BHG Gate. For those who aren't aware, what happened was BHG talked about a bunch of stuff about playing idols, but he never outright said, "I am playing my idol," and in his sub. So pre-played all that. I think I copy and pasted all of what he said into spec chat at one point.
Yeah, no,
I
we
just
had a
asked-
vote in spec chat. Yeah.
Yeah, and so And the verdict was that he never directly told us that he was going to play his idol. He was just more like, can this be the image? Can this be whatever? And I was just like, no. And he never like told me directly he was going to play his idol in sub chat. It came into like a full blown argument about it, and I don't know what your guys' opinion would be on the matter, whether like you would count that as a idol or not.
Like, I understand being upset about it. Like, I remember, like, I've been in orgs before where you think, not like an idol, but you think you voted or you did this and that, and then you wake up and you realize, oh fuck, now I have a strike, or oh fuck, I'm out because I forgot to do this and that. And you thought you made it clear, but you didn't. But it's just kind of, to quote the classic adage, shit happens. You gotta
Yeah.
be careful with that.
To look back on it, like this is the moment where I state, everyone for the record, don't, for the record, confirm shit with production. Confirm, confirm, confirm. If you don't go to production and say, I'm playing this before you head off, 9 times out of 10, we are going to rule that you didn't play it. Unless, like, a very obscure situation. I felt bad for BHG in the moment. Of course, you know, after the drama I felt a little less bad, but... And I like BHG as a person, but... Play your idols, kids. Just play them. Don't be like me in season...
Season 9.
But I do
like...
also... Yeah.
Yeah.
I do also think because of what happened in Final 8, because I know Peppers and someone else split the vote against Connor. So it was like a 5-2-1 where BHG would idle out Connor if he idles.
Yeah, which would have been...
BHG probably goes after that if that happens. And
yeah, like...
Maybe the entire season changes. Maybe Peppers can get to the end and win after that. But I mean, there's a lot that like maybe Peppers or Benno wins, but there's a lot that happens within that.
Yeah, and there's yeah, and I mean, speaking of the characters and players of this story, I think this is talking about tribals. I think this is a perfect segue to talk about my favorite tribal of the season. I hope everyone can tell I'm sarcastic. The Final Four. Remember that one, Civ?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
at the end of the day, I don't think Connor would have won anyway, so I don't really care that much. And he shouldn't have won. No offense, love you, Connor. You shouldn't have won season 7.
No, Connor shouldn't have won. But like, this is the moment, and some spectators agree with us, some don't. At the time, it was pretty mixed. The opinions before FTC. Once FTC was over, the opinions were not mixed. But Max is we should release a story video, Civ. That's gonna be my comment. We do need to release that. But to just summarize Max as a player, they won comps and they were likable. They did their job. I don't know what Civ thinks about Max that season.
I mean, I think I do appreciate Max's game, and to an extent, I do like the fact that Max won. I mean, I would have had I obviously would have had like a Peppers or Benno collab win. I mean, if Skylar had a better FTC, I would have had a Skylar win over Max also.
Yeah, no, once FTC was over. Speaking of which, Skylar, we love you. I will give you a fucking FTC course. I know I'm probably the worst person to get it from. Everyone hated me in Season 2 and Season 5, but I got you.
Yeah. Well, you technically won both votes popular vote wise. So you're not the worst.
No, that's the funniest part. People hated me, but still voted me.
What was Skylar's season 7 FTC like? Because I remember the season 6 one so well.
I think.
This is the
Do
best,
I have
this is
the
the best
link? I
part.
need to check.
If
might
you
still have
have
the
the
docs
I remember
link,
saved.
season
I'll-
6,
I'll-
like they basically said like they basically gave up, even though there was like a lot of merit to their game. Like I was
Yeah.
like, this vote was easier than I thought. Quinn.
Yeah. Like I remember, like I think I was willing to vote Skylar just going in because
Yeah.
I had issues with Quinn, and then I did my typical like harsh jury shit with Skylar. I was like, why the fuck should I vote for you? And Skylar just outright told me, yeah, you shouldn't. I'm like,
Yeah,
And
that was
then-
essentially
Yeah,
like their
I
speech in a
found-
nutshell.
And then
I
Oh,
don't
we
know
also,
the
talked-
link is.
the legendary moment of season 7 Skylar's FTC speech is it was the exact opposite of season 6 and it completely failed. Skylar learned from their mistakes, but in the wrong way.
Yeah, so what happened in season 6 was, I mean, in a nutshell, it was like, I did all these things, trust me. I think the answers are more problematic than the speech itself, but I just linked the speech in Gen Chat if y'all want to look at it. It's very interesting to say the least. I
Let
think
me go check it out.
Yeah, I think the speech itself is.
Why is it pre-merge
It's
so
fine.
short?
Yeah, well, Skylar was non-existent pre-merge. This is the
Can
problem.
can I
Physical.
can I can I make a statement though? You gotta realize though, a lot of players pre-merge doesn't really impact the merge too much. Yes, I am back from the grave. Don't ask how I got back here. But a lot of players
We saw you
pre-merge.
like 15 minutes ago.
2 out of 10
I wanna be fair,
physical. Wow.
great.
I think the
It's
funniest
I like
part
how
is
they're
that,
rating their game
Rated
like an
Rated
I had
A.
the best-
IGN review.
I had the
Rated
best
every
physical
aspect.
game. Don't pay attention to Max. Don't pay attention to Max, who won the most comps. My physical game was P.
Guys,
I wanna
look
be
at the message
fair.
to Hal.
I want to be fair though.
Ow,
He doesn't-
Ow.
God damn it.
You know. Also,
Oh, you
I
know,
will say
eliminated.
that how is the most underappreciated player of Survivor history, and I will stand by that. I love
Oh,
How to
yeah.
death as a player.
I mean,
I'm not saying that How deserved to win either of their seasons. What I am saying is How is the perfect definition of not just not enough, but still deserves respect.
Mm.
It's like How is like the king of pre-merge, and then it hits merge, and it's just like da 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 crash.
Sugar crash.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be fair though. Sometimes people's games just it's hard for them to keep up. Once they start strong, it's hard to keep it going sometimes.
That's definitely
Because
true.
I've seen people play like an example. Honestly, you know what a good example genuinely could be? You could talk
What?
about Sheep's game in season 4, where no, he didn't really make any mistakes, but he didn't make the merge. I know players like Groot's a player who actually played pretty. Groot's actually a better example.
Yeah, no,
Super's not a
Groot's
good
the
example.
example today.
Yeah,
But
I
Groot's
was
the
gonna say-
example for season 4. Groot did nothing wrong. They just got shot because Puppet. Is it weird? I feel like I have to mention this real quick. Puppet is one of the weirdest characters to look at in Survivor history when it comes to Era 1. Because season 2 was like mid, season 3 and 4 is god tier, and then season 6 is just like the greatest bang.
Oh my god, we
We
never
hit the
talked about
floor.
season 6.
What happened
And then
season 6?
season
It was
10.
actually the
Oh
fun.
yeah, season 6. Puppet.
Oh,
How did we not talk about
Oh,
Final 5?
Oh fuck! How would
Oh
you
yeah. Okay, we need to
Oh
go
my
back to
god,
Final
we
Okay,
Five.
forgot
rewind
one
the
of the-
tape. Rewind the tape.
Rewind
Okay,
the
it's rewind time, chat. Okay,
Puppet,
so
I would
back
like to
in
sincerely apologize for you getting Sareed. We have
So-
made a severe lapse in our judgment for not
I
remembering.
mean, I think the problem at the end of the day is that I think it was either Knight or Puppet getting advantage.
Yeah, like
idled out
Yeah.
at the
it
end of
was
the
the
day.
competition. The
Right.
competition decided who lived.
I mean,
It was the
Puppet
That's
challenge.
why I
wasn't.
was.
I mean, I don't know if Puppet was gonna win either any FTC
No,
scenario
Puppet was
minus
not.
like
Puppet
Skylar.
was not
No, I think
winning. I was never
Puppet
gonna
literally
vote
went
Puppet.
camping halfway through that season and stopped.
Yeah,
I think
so
Yeah,
I
that's
think
his
what
whole
Puppet
happened.
even
strategy was to
loses
become
to
a goat.
Skylar.
Like that was
Before-
like a legit strategy of his. He wanted to be a goat on
Okay.
purpose.
While we're still on season 5, I have a question that I
Season
think
5?
me and
We're on
Civ
season
both
5
have.
now?
No, season 6. Sorry, I forgot to ask this question to you two that played season 6. I have one legitimate question. Why did you guys want Butter to win? I have not understood this for so long. I
She was
needed
nice. She was
She was
nice. She
nice.
had a good social game. And
yeah,
you
I
know,
think Butter had a
I'm
good
obviously biased
social game. We
answering
were like
this now,
aligned.
but
We
even
were.
back then, I thought she was neat.
I have
That's
to
why
say
you're
this,
dating
one of
her.
the funniest
Yeah.
things of season 6 is me and Civ going, Butter's alright, and then just looking into Ponderosa, go, Butter, go! And I'm just like, what's going on? What do you mean?
But yeah, I think Butter had
Anyways,
good
up to
social
season
game.
7. No. Civ's gonna have a fun time editing.
No, it's funny. It's funnier this way, let's be real.
True.
Yeah.
No.
We needed to bring
I
up that
feel like-
tribal for real.
I feel like
Yeah.
we don't have much to talk about in season 7. I feel like one
think
thing
the-
I do
ahead.
want to just like pay my respects to is respects to one of the Era 1 greats, Peppers.
True.
Yeah.
I think Peppers is
Yes.
the most wholesome player in Survivor history. You get the wholesome award shout out.
Oh, undeniably.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and I would have loved to see a Pepper season 7 win. That would have been amazing to see. Sad that it didn't happen.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't know anything about the upcoming wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but you know, I think we won't. We haven't seen the last of Peppers.
Yeah, but I think that's all that we've need to talk about season 7. I think one more thing that should get gently brushed on that we already kind of did is Skylar's FTC. I think Skylar. Do we think that Skylar would have won if they had a better FTC?
Yes. Actually, no.
From
I don't
everything
think
I understand, yes.
No, Skylar won it. Straight up. No. It didn't matter. People weren't willing to give Skylar respect. Max won the FTC the moment they walked in. It's just Max is such a, and this is like a good thing for Max's game. Max is so like likable and charismatic. If they're not against anyone that's clearly ahead of them, they win. It's their win condition.
So Max like wins season 5 if he makes FTC. Like,
no, I'm
in
not.
any scenario.
No, I'm not saying that. Like what I'm saying is, if it's not someone that is clearly better than them, like if it's Peppers, they're not winning against Peppers, or if it's Kalabe, or yeah, I feel like that's it. Honestly, there's not much more that can beat Max in that season because they're just that fucking likable.
Yeah. Shout out to Max and shout out to all the legendary Survivor players we've had.
Yeah, we already did a video on that before.
Yeah,
But
we did
Civ,
we'll be doing I need to do the tier list video probably.
Civ, if you
I
want
need
to, just to reward people for making it to the end, we haven't done something that we probably should have in Survivor already.
What is it?
Reveal something, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
The theme? I don't even have the logo ready.
Ah, goddamn it!
What?
Never mind,
Dang
everyone. We won't tell you the theme.
No.
Quinn, if you watch this
I'll
video,
tell-
I'm joking.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. I'll put a teaser hint at the end of the video.
Yeah, we're gonna have a
People to
teaser hint,
watch.
but no. I think that's everything. Thanks to everyone that watches this and shows up. I guess Civ, is this this server gonna be opened up to people? Because I'm seeing
The
the
Civcast,
channels in here.
this server, the Survivor server, yeah, probably not the podcast server.
But
It'll.
if you guys are in, yeah, if you guys are in Survivor and you guys have any specific requests for us to do, please let us know because we have too many ideas. We need people to simplify it for us.
Shane's
Yeah.
story video.
Oh my god.
What?
Shane's
What did
story
you say?
video.
Story video.
Chain story video. Do it.
You know what, DB? If you can give me a 1,000 word essay that convinces us, we may do it. You have to convince us.
I got you.
Really.
It has to be in
Uh,
MLA format too.
First
The
give
whole
you an essay,
shebang.
and then he
I'm a
became.
history major. Can I do Chicago?
Sure.
Okay.
One story that we definitely need to do though that has been on the back burner. Stories are probably gonna wait until after HPV if we end up doing it in the next season, for reasons that I won't state, but are probably obvious.
Yeah.
Right.
But we need to do Whooper Army, of course. I think we were gonna do a Harrison video.
Yeah, at some point, yeah.
We're gonna do a video on the legendary most unluckiest player in Survivor. If you think you know what that is, comment below. Comment in
Yeah.
Discord if you think you know what it is. I don't even think Civ knows who it is. I don't know who it is anymore after.
I think
I
I
can't
know
even
who
say
it
it.
is. But,
It
yeah.
depends
Thanks,
on
everyone.
who you ask. Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thanks everyone so much for watching. I'll put the link to some of to my co-host socials down below, as well as the links to the Survivor server. So yeah, but I'll see you all next time. Don't know if I'm gonna be doing another Survivor podcast, probably, but because I'm trying to get back into the Civcast in general, and if anyone knows what the first episode of Civcast was like, it was just me fucking around with some other people. I'll probably just send the link to that in this server as well, because I'm pretty sure some of the Survivor players I was on a podcast with, I think it was Caleb and Spin, most notably, I was with. But yeah. For now, that is all, and we will see you all next video.
Woo! Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you for watching.